The capabilities of Great Master Shenhui's seemingly fierce non-human beings could repress star generals, but how could he have foreseen that efficacious star divine physician would be here? By the contract she had with the star beast Good Fortune, and Suan activated her dark rank star magic, mind-stealing smoke and rain. This star magic could shift whatever injuries any person sustained onto the user herself. However, by doing so, Suan alone bore the already extreme non-human beings. If it was not for relying on Good Fortune's healing, she would have already been unable to persist from the very beginning. After all, this was but a supervoid middle-stage cultivator's power. Without a 5-star destined weapon, star generals basically had no way to contend. But how? Great Master Shenhui was shocked. Hey! An icy shout interrupted, again tearing open a ghastly wound on Great Master Shenhui's body. The Great Masters were both mentally and physically exhausted. They used all their abilities without exception yet were unexpectedly powerless to contest. This was somewhat inconceivable. Their grand and magnificent 3 super void cultivations surprisingly were helpless against several star generals. And Suan being struck back into the star nest made the hearts of the girls infuriated. The 3 Great Masters had been frightened into continuous retreat. If this got out, this practically would be disgraceful. Great Master Shenhui instantly already lost his drive for further battle, but how could Aritha and Great Master Still Void bear this shame? Great Master, we can only use the 10,000 Buddhas of the Platform Sutra of 6th Patriarch. We ask that Great Master lend his aid. N. Great Master Shenhui hesitated a moment, nodding in agreement when he saw the star generals in pursuit. Great Master Shenhui and Great Master Still Void used all of their power to tangle with this rage. 7th floor Stupa Pagoda, 7th floor. The battle on the floor above made the 7th floor Stupa Pagoda wobble endlessly, as if it was a small leaf in the middle of a surging wave. Jolted up and down, under such disturbing shaking, Holy Monk Four Noble Truth was calm in the face, slowly propagating Dharma. Currently, there were altogether 5 people still listening to Dharma. They were Qingzi, Chan Xian, the yellow-clothed person, and Abbess Water Moon along with Chan Master Jia Yi. As far as the contest over the 5 dragons colored glass lamp was concerned, they clearly did not care. However, not everyone could remain aloof. Chan Xian was an exception. It was as if Chan Xian's heart was being scratched by a cat right now. She was filled with a sort of indescribable feeling of unease. If it was before, to be able to hear the holy monk speak of Dharma was something Chan Xian absolutely could only dream of. Now, she had even uprooted an enormous Bodhi tree of the Central Celestial coming to Buddha Kingdom for the sake of making Senior Monk Four Noble Truths take a look. Although this shook the entire far west Buddha Kingdom, this was still not shown. Now, this long-cherished wish was accomplished, yet Chan Xian all along could not settle down. Each time the floor above jolted, that surging murderous aura seemed to flow over her body. Unease, fright, confusion, conflict, the feelings that the heavenly solitary star ought not to have totally broke free. For supervoid cultivators had taken action. Will he die? Chan Xian's mind only had this question, half-hearted about this holy monk's Chan technique. Sister Qingzi, shall we go up? Wang Jingji asked. Qingzi hesitated. To be frank, she was relatively shocked. Originally, she had thought that Su Xing had come for the heavenly solitary star. How could she have known that Su Xing unexpectedly was here for the 5 dragons colored glass lamp? Then why would he treat the heavenly solitary star so well along the road? Qingzi did not understand, however, now that 4 supervoid cultivators had set out. Qingzi wiped cold sweat for Su Xing. Originally, she had thought that it would be a brief instant, that Su Xing would leave the 7th-floor Stupa Pagoda, but she had not expected that the battle on the floor above would be increasingly intense, unexpectedly affecting the entire 7th-floor Stupa Pagoda. Just that imposing air alone made Qingzi's heart shiver. Just what did Su Xing do to those 4 supervoid cultivators? How could things be so severe? According to logic, as Su Xing's sworn little sister, Qingzi ought to go forward and take a look, but thinking of Su Xing's identity again made Qingzi unable to make a determination. Seeing Chan Xian aloof as she listened to Dharma, Qingxi thought to silently observe. Just what relationship did Su Xing and Chan Xian have? Wait, see how the heavenly solitary star makes her determination. Qingxi thought. They could only do so. To be enemies with 4 supervoid cultivators, Qingxi felt honestly this was very unwisely seeking one's own destruction. I will now transmit to you the markless repentance and reform to destroy the offensive actions done within the 3 periods of time and to purify the 3 karmas. Good knowing advisors, repeat after me, may this disciple be, in past, present, and future thought, in every thought, unstained by stupidity and confusion. May it be wiped away at once and never arise again. Senior monk 4 Noble Truths sat upright on the lotus platform, his mouth spitting up lotus flowers, each word a pearl. The group listened silently and respectfully. At this moment, Abbess Water Moon and Chan Master Jia Yi opened their eyes. They looked at each other, some shock in their eyes. They had just received Great Master's Still Void sound projection. Unexpectedly, he wanted to have them go assist at the top of the pagoda, to activate the platform sutra of 6th Patriarch array and open the 10,000 Buddhas. What was going on? That man unexpectedly could render Buddha Kingdom's peak Buddhas to be without choice. Surprisingly, they were about to activate the platform sutra of 6th Patriarch. Everyone knew that the Buddha Kingdom had 6 ancestors, but these 6 ancestors were not at all the sort of vain title and such of the Azure Dragon territory, rather, this was confirmation of the Platform Sutra of 6th Patriarch. The Platform Sutra of 6th Patriarch was Buddhism's most famous sutra. Following what 6th Patriarch had declared, when he declared that the 6 paths combined into one. The 10,000 Buddhas had always suppressed the luck of Buddha Kingdom, otherwise, how could the Buddha Kingdom have possibly survived in the midst of the dominance of several territories, declaring themselves the Pure Land world? Star generals were this formidable. Chan Master Jia Yi and Abbess Water Moon looked at each other in dismay, somewhat hesitant. The holy monk was propagating Dharma. To be this rude always meant losing etiquette, your mind has 1,000 knots. Go undo these knots. To endure remaining here will only increase your worries, and your mind will be increasingly bewildered. Holy Monk 4 Noble Truths had apparently anticipated this. He calmly spoke, not becoming angered. We shall trouble the holy monk. Abbess Water Moon and Chan Master Jia Yi were helpless. Although they did not want to participate in a dispute with star generals at all, they knew that the Platform Sutra of 6th Patriarch array required them to go. Someday, if they fell into a bind with others looking on without concern, that was the same as self-destruction in Buddha Kingdom. The pair flashed away, bolting for the top of the pagoda as Qingxi stared in astonishment. Just what was happening on the floor above for all of the Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors to go? Ha, interesting. They want to activate the Platform Sutra of 6th Patriarch. Are they chanting the 10,000 Buddhas? It seems Buddha Kingdom really has no way out against these star generals. The yellow-clothed man laughed, completely in spite of the holy monk's dignity. These words made Chan Xian's expression change. Her eyes were somewhat struggling. Dharma is the great way. The nature of the mind is dustless. This benefactor was brought to poor monk by fate, but your heart cannot shed its unease. The cause is ill feeling, how can the meditative mind be comprehended? Holy Monk 4 Noble Truths slowly said. Chan Xian had a sudden epiphany, her heart clear. She put her hands together piously. Disciples shall now go rid the cause. Sadhu, sadhu. Holy Monk 4 Noble Truths chanted. Chan Xian ascended to the next floor, her eyes no longer confused, walking for the top of the pagoda. Since even Chan Xian had gone, Qingxi had no reason to stay in this place. If she did not show herself, someday, Su Xing would not be easy to say, let alone that Qingxi had no interest at all about this Chan technique. She announced her guilt and also followed upwards. Very quickly, this room was only left with the yellow-clothed man. Truly interesting. It seems in the end, only your servant has connection with the holy monk's Chan technique. The yellow-clothed man laughed aloud. Holy Monk Four Noble Truths slowly said. Emperor Liang is the Azure Dragon's most senior. How can poor monk's dharma have a connection with Emperor Liang? The yellow-clothed man took off his hood, revealing a smart and bright face, a distinct countenance and two eyes sharp as swords. He was dignified, not furious. Compared to the solemnity of Holy Monk Four Noble Truths, he was not to be outdone. This man was precisely Emperor Liang. When we originally came to see you, Great Master just happened to be in seclusion, and we were unable to request an audience. Today, we finally can see the Great Master. Emperor Liang smiled. The two of them were both peak supervoid late-stage cultivators. The courage to make someone raise his hand was sufficient to make someone feel oppressed. Fortunately, this place was already without anyone left, otherwise, this propagation of Dharma might have become torment. Truly, poor monk has troubled your majesty. Not at all, we only wish to ask poor monk a question. Have you comprehended this transforming star of annihilation? Emperor Liang calmly smiled and asked. The imposing air of Holy Monk Four Noble Truths made a rare ripple, immediately calming down, silent. How did this happen? Chan Master Jia Yi and Abbess Water Moon rushed to the top of the pagoda and were stupefied by the scene before them. Buddhist cultivators truly like to appear one by one. Wu Xiao grasped her double-ended sword, her slender pupils brimming with a cold expression. Use the platform sutra of Sixth Patriarch, otherwise we will die here. Great Master Still Void hastily called out. Gong Sun Huang, Yan Yizhen, and Wu Xiao cooperated for an attack. A terrifying murderous aura filled their hearts and made them change expression. Knowing that star generals were unmatched in close combat, although Chan Master Jia Yi and Abbess Water Moon did not have time to think more, having been frightened by Wu Xiao and the others' imposing air, they hastily formed hand seals. The platform sutra of Sixth Patriarch inherently required the 6 ancestors, but Stupa and Senior Monk Extreme Happiness had died. Great Master Shenhui actually had the qualifications to assume the position. Although they were short one person, that could no longer be minded too much. The 5 of them simultaneously recited scripture. Immediately, the unbounded void was full of Brahmanistic Dharma. Countless scriptures flew out, and gods and Buddhas descended as far as the eye could see. The expressions of Wu Xiao and the others changed. They felt their heads hurt as if they were splitting apart. Those countless Brahmanistic chants drilled into their minds. No matter how much star energy they used, the group were incapable of dispelling it. Under this Brahmanistic chanting, the group found it completely difficult to move their toes and fingers, let alone attack. This was the 10,000 Buddhas. Not good. Wu Xiao's eyes had a chill. Countless Buddhist sounds appeared from the 7th-floor stupa pagoda and spread across the entire central celestial. Instantly, the innumerable masses knelt and bowed their heads to the ground. Incense burned non-stop, and the phantoms of gods and Buddhas filling the sky hung suspended, making the entire Buddha kingdom fill with magnificence. Huangfu Tianyi gnashed his teeth, damned Buddhism. The flying swords and talismans violently attacked to kill the Wu Xinjie and Lin Yingmei trapped in the Northern Dipper Heavenly Cycle Array. The Northern Dipper Heavenly Cycle Array could draw away a star general's star energy, and Huangfu Tianyi was confident that even if they did not die, they would be seriously wounded, allowing Jiao Ruoxue to act afterwards. The 2-peak heavenly star were his starfall things then. It was perfect in his imagination. Just at this moment, Wu Xinjie sighed, and Hua Shui possessed Wu Xinjie's body. 9 snow-white tails unfurled. In that instant, Wu Xinjie's pupils brimmed with the 2 glints of charm and holiness. Before Huangfu Tianyi could understand what had happened, he suddenly heard a hua-hua noise in the void, as if chains were being pulled around. Immediately afterwards, he saw chains of twinkling golden light suddenly appear in Wu Xinjie's surroundings. These chains were seemingly spiritual, circling around to form a battle array. The Northern Dipper Heavenly Cycle Array instantly broke. But how? Huangfu Tianyi was shocked. Wu Xinjie pointed, and the black gold chains flew out like snakes. The chains gathered to form the shape of a whirling galaxy. The flying swords and talismans completely broke, and then Wu Xinjia's eyes moved. The chains spread without limit, in the end growing 1,000 meters. Between her and Lin Yingmei, a starry sky world formed. This is, Huang Futiani was astonished. 8 gates black gold chain, Jin Qiongyu cried out. Humph. Wu Xinjia's lips curled into a sneer. The 8 gates black gold chain twinkled with a dark light, becoming rays hiding into the air. When they appeared again, they were already in front of Huang Futiani. That triangular tip was like a viper poking it out its deadly snake tongue. Young master. Faceless Jiao Ruoxua hastily returned to defend, but she had only taken a step when her ankles were locked up. Turning her head back to look, Wu Xinjia's 8 gates black gold chains had already bound her. Oh, no. Jiao Ruoxua turned pale with horror. Her palms used her boxing technique, but the 8 gates black gold chain hooked as it wished, winding around her arms. In the blink of an eye, her whole body was tightly trapped. No matter how Jiao Ruoxua struggled, she could not budge at all. Yingmei, young master's 10,000 Buddhas has manifested. Let us not waste any more time. Wu Xinjia smiled, her 9 tails spreading out. Lin Yingmei nodded. Aiming at the stupefied and speechless Jin Qiongyu and Qin Mingyue, she took an ice-cold pace, attacking them. Jin Qiongyu consecutively used Wind Thunder Lightning Flash. The thunderlight filling the skies was easily broken by Lin Yingmei's spear technique. Scram, you! Qin Mingyue's expression was grave. Sensing the chill in Lin Yingmei's spear, she was overcome with a stifling feeling. The little loli was nevertheless fierce, her hands grasping the wolf-toothed fire beacon mace, raising her heavy body to face this head-on. Jin Qiongyu did not dare disobey, immediately turning around and fleeing. The 8 gates black gold chain at this moment went for her, and Jin Qiongyu used star magic to strike. Little sister, watch this mace. Qin Mingyue straddled her star beast, shouting. Little sister is impolite, you should be spanked. Lin Yingmei simultaneously sat upon her snow-walking frost-eye beast. If a star general sat on a star beast, her own body would combine with the star beast's star energy. Each and every move would be even more powerful. Lin Yingmei did not dare look down on the similarly 5-tiger Qin Mingyue. The air in Lin Yingmei's surroundings instantly froze. The intense cold made them hide away 3 chi. Borrowing the snow-walking frost-eye beast's ice-cold speed, Lin Yingmei's spear was extremely chilling to the bone. Her powerful strength brought with it extreme speed. Her entire person was a white blur, completely unable to make out the shape of a person. Fierce star fiery thunderbolt Qin Mingyue also was not to be underestimated. The imposing aura of her whole body burned, summoning a suffocating heat wave. That wolf-toothed fire beacon mace was like a sky-devouring monster opening its jaws. Ignoring the fierce star fiery thunderbolt's enormous oppressive feeling, Lin Yingmei's eyes exploded with cold light. The Arctic star serpent spear was like a net. The snow-walking frost-eye beast flapped its ice-cold wings, and a cold light enveloped its mistress. From head to toe, she smit a lethal bone-chilling cold. Under this sort of ability, the star energy of Lin Yingmei's whole body began to concentrate and expand in an unbelievable manner. It was as if Lin Yingmei had become the world's coldest existence. The Arctic star serpent spear already borrowed the powerful force of the impact to fiercely strike, a deadly murderous aura instantly shooting out. In this instant, the domineering airs of the 2 5-tiger generals fully opened, not holding back in the slightest. Boom! An enormous noise made the central celestial jolt. Even the Buddhist disciples all permeating under the 10,000 Buddhas had their minds shaken awake. Ice and fire shook apart. Qin Mingyue and her star beast staggered backwards in retreat. During their retreat, the space in between rolled over with flowers of flame endlessly as if something was missing. A giant flame blossomed in the sky, but it was immediately extinguished by gale of cold. In this instant, Qin Mingyue's armor had an additional cut on it. The star beast she rode also already showed slight ice-cold lights. In contrast, her attacks could only bring to Lin Yingmei wounds that were feeling wholly dissatisfactory. Lin Chong, look again. Qin Mingyue called out with a hoarse voice. Her star beast rolled a transparent fire, and the little lowly once again launched a fierce attack, unwilling to give up. Lin Yingmei's brows knit together, casting off the innocent appearance of a lowly. Hidden deep within the fierce star's bones indeed was a boldness to fight with all her might. The snow-walking frost-eye beast moved about perfectly in the air, directly dodging Qin Mingyue's first pounce, but the fiery thunderbolt star beast suddenly exerted strength, becoming a shocking bolt of lightning, summoning a stifling wind to directly advance. The cold spear received it, and Lin Yingmei's spear technique slashed consecutively while the snow-walking frost-eye beast also unleashed a cold light to battle. Fiery thunderbolt Qin Mingyue's retreat rapidly stopped. Her body had sustained some injuries that were insignificant. Those little problems on her body still could not affect her movements. The star beast swayed its body, shaking out a massive flame, continuing again to approach Lin Yingmei. But the angry cry in that flame body was even more luminous, making all who heard it have their hair stand on end. This was Qin Ming's full power. The all-out efforts of both made direct contact. In the admiring gazes of the Buddhist disciples, in the sky, the blinding flames and the bone-chilling cold once again bumped into each other. Lin Yingmei's expressionless face showed extreme tranquility. That was not at all a wide back for a star general, yet she nevertheless made the Buddhist disciples feel insignificant. During the frightening contact, the giant wolf-toothed mace already violently swung right at Lin Yingmei. The enormous wind pressure even made the long bangs over Lin Yingmei's eyes flutter up. Those ice-bearing light clear as ice were incomparably peaceful. The surrounding air suddenly was burned into scattering everywhere in a flutter, demonstrating powerful might. Bang! The sky violently jolted as if there was an earthquake. Within the diffusing flames, Lin Yingmei spurred the snow-walking frost-eye beast to rush out. Fiery thunderbolt Qin Mingyue's wolf-toothed fire beacon mace could bring about a giant stifling strength when it attacked, and every wave could create flames and explosions, contending directly, absolutely dangerous. But Lin Yingmei was fearless. The Arctic Star Serpent Spear and the wolf-toothed fire beacon mace slammed into each other, activating star magic, not falling to a disadvantage. The two struggled in the air. Their silhouettes currently seemed to have become the sun and the moon. The people below did not dare look directly, stealing away the scene of the 10,000 Buddhas. Star energy was completely released. Sitting on star beasts allowed the two star maidens to become fiend stars in name and reality. Revolving endlessly in the sky, the glaring light of their battle continuously waved about. Flames and ice and snow scattered in all directions, fluttering about through the whole sky. Qin Mingyue exerted all her strength to continuously attack, her momentum incomparably astonishing. Enormous explosions consecutively boomed, nevertheless, they left behind only individual fireballs in the sky. Futilely progressing her own useless efforts. Compared to Lin Yingmei, Qin Mingyue always fell behind. The aerial battle made everyone unable to draw breath. This level of combat already was not something they could imagine. The battle strength of two great five Tiger Generals star generals were but the highest tier of the pyramid, and their close combat abilities naturally could not be underestimated. The squall of the sky was larger and larger. The hurricane of flame that fiery thunderbolt Qin Mingyue's wolf-toothed mace gave rise to had disintegrated countless buildings. Already, they were almost encroaching on the 7th-floor stupa pagoda. Lin Yingmei's figure already was quickly drawn into a line. A clang 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 sound continuously resounded. Their weapons created countless struggles, as if they would never stop. There were several hundred exchanges. The corner of Lin Yingmei's eye already spotted the trajectory of fiery thunderbolt Qin Mingyue's attack. The battle more or less was coming upon a rest. Fiercely gritting her teeth, the star energy in her body was like a gale as it circulated. Enormous energy frantically stirred her body structure. Cold air enveloped Lin Yingmei's whole body. Qin Mingyue felt her skin touch the chill of ice cold, unable to shrug it off. This was far from good. Lin Yingmei suddenly flashed away, dodging Qin Mingyue's attack, already appearing beside the little lowly. The body of ice and snow again radiated a dazzling light. The enormous light made Buddha Kingdom illuminated, and they could not help but shut their eyes. Lin Yingmei's expression was stern. The Arctic star serpent spear thrust out, just like a heaven and earth splitting sword. After a brief pause, there was an abrupt rebound, and light fell directly down from the sky. In the instant she thrust, time and space seemed to halt. The surrounding air seemed to instantly be stopped in place. Qin Mingyue had a sort of dreamlike suffocating feeling. That spear tip of flashing ice-cold light seemed to be sole thing in the world in existence, attracting Qin Mingyue's mind. Not good. The girl was pale. The spear technique was like a shooting star, carrying powerful energy that resolutely pierced through Qin Mingyue's body. Bang! With the sound of a freezing penetration, and the entire world seemed to freeze. Qin Mingyue was cut down onto the ground by the slash, no longer able to move. Lin Yingmei stabbed directly, and Qin Mingyue despaired. Moreover, Wu Xinjia's 8-gate black gold chain could be said to be a frightening star weapon. The moment the chains emerged, they seriously moved about the world unhindered. Jiao Ruoxue was very quickly bound. The 8-gate's black gold chain wrapped tighter and tighter. The evil star very quickly felt suffocated. The mask suddenly collapsed under the chains, revealing a beautiful face that was unresigned. Little sister, sorry. Wu Xinjia's eyes glinted. The 8-gate's black gold chain explosively radiated golden light. Jiao Ruoxue groaned. Immediately, she was disintegrated by the chains, turned to ash and dust. Huangfu Yanyu was greatly shocked. His mind felt a sinking feeling, for he did not expect Jiao Ruoxue to be defeated so quickly. 8-gate's black gold chain, how could you have this sort of thing? Huangfu Tianyi asked in disbelief. The chains constricted his whole body, making his chance to use the jade pendant to flee disappear. Because Xinjia is the knowledge star. Wu Xinjia's lovely smile was like a demon in Huangfu Tianyi's eyes. Huangfu Tianyi was unresigned, using the flying swords, but the flying swords were blocked by the 8-gate's black gold chain, completely useless. The 8-gate's black gold chain wrapped tighter. Huangfu Tianyi could not speak, his hopes turning to dust, falling into despair. Then, the 8-gate's black gold chain released a hurricane. Huangfu Tianyi screamed, unreconciled, turning into dust. Then, evil star faceless boxing gloves immediately appeared. In the sky, a star fell. Before Wu Xinjia could exhale, she suddenly heard a groan resound in the sky. Lifting her head to look, Lin Yingmei had already acquired the key moment in her battle with Qin Mingyue. The majestic star stabbed, and Qin Mingyue was cut down. Lin Yingmei jumped down from the snow-walking frost-eye beast, both her hands grasping the spear as she stabbed at Qin Mingyue. With Qin Mingyue's condition, she already had no way to escape. Do you still have anything to say? Lin Yingmei peacefully said, her eyes nevertheless somewhat distressed. Qin Mingyue grit her teeth. Mingyue is only sorry she could not help elder sister Qingxi. Can elder sister promise little sister something? Help elder sister Qingxi, she can help free us of the star duels. Silence. Apologies, your servant has only ever obeyed young master alone. Lin Yingmei's spear pierced through Qin Mingyue's heart. Liked it? A magnificent light flashed by, and Qin Ming disappeared without a trace. Lin Yingmei stored her spear and lifted her head. In the sky, there was no starfall at all, meaning that Qin Ming did not die. Strange, could it be that Qin Ming has signed a contract? Wu Xinjia slowly walked over, very bewildered. If a star general that did not sign a contract were to receive a fatal wound, they would starfall. Qin Ming had undoubtedly died just now, but if she had a contract, to not see Qin Ming's star master honestly was odd. Wu Xinjia could not believe that the reason the star master was absent from the fierce star's side was the same as her own. Yingmei? Wu Xinjia flashed forth and brought Lin Yingmei into her embrace. Lin Yingmei was somewhat powerless. That intense battle with Qin Ming just now had extremely fatigued her strength. After all, the fierce star fiery thunderbolt was a 5 tiger. How could she be a character defeated as easily as turning over a hand? Sister Ingmei, you truly went through a lot of trouble. Wu Xinjie drew near her ear, her alluring words like silk. The 9-tailed spirit fox's possession made her look very bewitching. Lin Ingmei's pale cheeks rose with a blush, shoving Wu Xinjie aside. Sister Ingmei, you really are shy. We both have attended to young lord together already. Wu Xinjie drew Lin Ingmei's rough waist towards her. Her lips ambiguously pecked Lin Ingmei's cheeks, their posture extremely suggestive. Lin Ingmei seemed to suffer an electric shock, breaking free with strength that came from who knew where. Uprighteously, she said, Wu Xinjie, are you drunk? Although they had indeed seen each other at their most stark, at that time, Lin Ingmei's whole heart was hung on Su Xing, not caring at all about those minor ambiguities. Oh, seeing Sister Ingmei's powerless appearance, Xinjie is somewhat drunk. Wu Xinjie's charming romanticness was loose, her cheeks slightly ablush. Do you want your servant to help calm you down? Lin Ingmei was completely without politeness. Wu Xinjie slightly winked, putting away her frivolous attitude. The 9 tails retracted, and the spirit fox emerged from her body. The 8 gates black gold briefly stirred restlessly, becoming a ray of golden light that bore into Wu Xinjie's body. The knowledge star let out a rather provocative moan that made Lin Ingmei's ears grow warm. A moment later, Wu Xinjie recovered her composure. Truly, Xinjie does not wish to use the 8 gates black gold chain. Wu Xinjie exhaled. Do not lower your guard, for Qin Ming's star master might return. Lin Ingmei reminded. Perhaps fierce star Qin Mingyue did not sign a contract. Wu Xinjie smiled. Lin Ingmei's expression was full of doubt. Did young master already say that Jin Qiongyu had signed a contract with Qingxi? Since this Qin Mingyue and Jin Qiongyu are together, their relationship is not shallow. Wu Xinjie surmised, also a bit pensive, however, it truly is strange. Why would this sort of thing occur? Lin Ingmei raised her head, gazing at the 7-floor stupa pagoda. Is it Qingxi, top of the pagoda? Qingxi suddenly changed her expression. She extended an arm and turned her hand. A banner appeared out of nowhere in her palm. It was too late to think anymore. Qingxi's expression was grave. She bit open her fingertip, and she smeared her blood onto the banner. A magnificent scene appeared in Qingxi's surroundings. Countless blue and white brushstroke-like outlines appeared in the air with simple and elegant trajectories. Graceful blue smoke circulated around her body, uniquely beautiful. Qingxi's lips slightly moved. The innumerable blue tadpole-like characters on the banner changed shape, finally forming a gorgeous star crest. After this was completed, Qingxi then slowly drew in a breath. The blue smoke scattered, yet her expression did not ease. Sister Qingxi. Li Longkue, Wang Jingji, and the others were astonished, clearly sensing what had happened just now. Qin Ming had been killed. Do not say anything at all. Your servant has her own plans. Qingxi was calm. Walking into the void, suddenly she heard a stabbing Brahmanistic chanting. Qingxi knelt on the ground, her head splitting with pain. This is, inside, 10,000 Buddhas. The Su Xing soaking in boundless bliss at the moment was currently at a realm where he could not move up or down. The 5 dragons' colored glass lamp above his head released light. The 5 dragons wound around, the Buddhist aura radiated, and that illusory meditative mind lotus seed seemed substantial, manifesting its shape in the air. The Buddhist light was like a sea, vastly irrigating it, but the Dharma was lacking, and the blossoming was slow enough to raise one's hackles. However, although Su Xing's heart-like mirror's soul technique had already reached the 3rd highest realm, sensing that Ansuan had returned to the star nest still made Su Xing's mind drop its guard. After all, Su Xing inherently had not truly reached that exceedingly refined degree. He could not turn a deaf ear to the danger outside. Furthermore, in the case that Su Xing's mind was in disorder, this 5 dragons' light would become increasingly slow, and the budding meditative mind lotus seed would also depress. Just at this moment, suddenly, countless Brahmanistic chants came through the void to his ear. Innumerable gods and Buddhas appeared in the void. A Bodhi forest and polo flowers formed a sea that encircled Shaqing within. Countless Buddhist sutra recitations endlessly poured into his ear. This sudden 10,000 Buddhas was like a last hope. His originally absent-minded mood immediately once again recovered its tranquility. At this moment, Wu Xiao and the others were bitterly persisting through a tangle for his meditative mind lotus seed. If he were to give up now, how could returning empty-handed not waste all of their efforts? Shaqing suddenly had an epiphany, and he slowly recited. Everything is that way, neither begun nor ended, neither impure nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing. And so within the void there is no material form, and no sensation, no discrimination, no thinking, and no consciousness. There is not sensory perception, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or reasoning. There are no 18 dhatu of sensation from sight to consciousness vijnana, or 12 links of avidya and its ending to old age and death jaramarana and their ending. There are even no, for noble truths, nor wisdom, nor attainment. Because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas, 2, Buddhas, arhats, and polo flowers opened. The Bodhi tree rocked. Sarira, precious kshetra, stupas, and colored glass became 10,000 fragments that entered the meditative mind lotus seed. The 5 dragons simultaneously cried out. Suddenly, the meditative mind lotus flower slowly spread its petals. Good, let us not delay. Immediately go stop that man. The 10,000 Buddhas of the platform of 6th Patriarch included Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors, the superpower of cooperating supervoid cultivators. The congregate of the entire Buddha Kingdom's power, what Wu Xiao faced was not the Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors but Buddha Kingdom's millions of disciples. Let alone star generals, even Emperor Liang, any cultivator that was the least bit irreverent of Buddha would inevitably swear allegiance to the 10,000 Buddhas, unable to free themselves of worldly worries. Wu Xiao, Gongsun Huang, Yan Yizhen, and Tang Lianxin exerted star energy to break free of the Brahmanistic chants in their minds, but that immeasurable dharma had no gaps to fall through. Their bodies had been frozen down to the cells. When Great Master Still Void saw these star generals had already been trapped, it was too late to think anymore. Immediately, he was about to rush into the 5 dragons' colored glass lamp. Perish the thought. Wu Xiao clenched her teeth, raising the noble frost demonic lotus with difficulty. The pilgrim was unwilling to give up. Wu Song, there is no need. Abbess Water Moon slightly sighed. Do not mind them. Just as the Chan masters were about to rush in, suddenly, a powerful force caged them. What? Great Master Shen Hui and the others were astonished, hastily waving their hands to go block. Life is like a place full of thorns. The heart is motionless, and thus, one does not act rashly. Being motionless therefore does no harm. When the heart finally moves, one acts rashly, which causes pain to body and bone. One then realizes how much pain there truly is in society. 3. Faint Brahmanistic chanting slowly made its way over. A woman descended from the heavens, wearing golden muslin, her hair rolled slightly in a cloud bun, her expression particularly pious. Her forehead had a golden star crest that was like colored glass. Heavenly solitary star Lu Jishan. The Chan masters were stunned. Heavenly solitary star Lu Jishan was free within the 10,000 Buddhas. The 3,000 Dharmas did not have the slightest influence on Chan Xian. As the sole star general among them all that was Buddhist, Chan Xian showed extremely tranquility. Heavenly solitary star, why do you do this? Great Master Shen Hui respectfully said. I ask you all, why do you dedicate yourselves to him? Chan Xian turned her head to look at Wu Xiao. Under the weight of the 10,000 Buddhas, how could she speak a single word, but her resolute eyes clearly showed her entire reply. Chan Xian nodded her head in understanding. Since there is fate, Chan Xian shall complete this karma. Chan Xian sighed. Heavenly solitary star, could it be you wish to see a star general dishonor our Buddha's holy object? Do not speak with her any further. The star generals all say the same thing. 6. Aratha was furious. The Vajra Dharma characteristics appeared, and he instantly rushed over. Bang! Chan Xien caught Aratha's fist with one hand, her expression still aloof. Impossible, Aratha's expression was pale, and his other hand then boomed over. When this punch arrived, Chan Xian's left fist already struck Aratha's chest. Instantly, Aratha's face contorted, feeling his internal organs turn back to front. Originally, the barely protective star energy dispersed. I have offended Great Master. Chan Xien had barely spoke. Aratha was then sent flying 100 meters, astonishingly unable to crawl back up. Hey! The others did not hesitate. In the next second, they totally threw themselves over, magic weapons and powers glaring and dazzling. Although they had already been worn down in battle by Wu Xiao and the others, arrows at the end of their path, the imposing auras that erupted for their attachment to Buddhism's holy object at this final moment still changed. Amitba. Chan Xien put her palms together, 7, in the midst of the wildly fluttering gale, calm. Immediately, a Chan staff appeared in her hands. This Chan was completely sparkling and translucent, with 3 sparkling stars. This was the heavenly solitary star's destined star weapon, Devil's Sealing Crescent Moon Chan. And at the same time, the heavenly solitary star's star beast Withering Thriving Lotus Flower Beast also appeared suddenly. Its wings spread, just like a lotus flower adornment. In a split second, heavenly solitary star Lu Zhishan's expression was full of an unprecedented violence and terror. Jia Yi, you go contest the colored glass lamp. Abyss Water Moon and the rest of us shall stall the heavenly solitary star. Great Master Still Void shouted. The originally hesitant Chan Master Jia Yi and Abyss Water Moon could no longer not act upon hearing this. Great Master, careful. Abyss Water Moon shouted. What? Great Master Still Void spat a mouthful of blood. Chan Xian's staff knocked him flying. If it was not Chan Xian unintentionally killing him, this staff was enough to knock a completely spent Great Master Still Void dead. Heavenly Solitary Star, you are unbridled towards the Great Master. Abyss Water Moon raised her own magic weapon, Compassionate Fairy Jade Pure Bottle. 8. Millions of magnificent rays shot towards the heavenly solitary star, and at the same time, both her hands formed the mark of fearlessness to use another ability. Facing a star general unrivaled in close combat, Abyss Water Moon did not dare to leave any leeway. Not Inauthentic Realm, Water Moon Paradise. 9. Heavenly King's Devil Sealing Chan Technique. 10. Chan Xian shouted. The Devil Sealing Crescent Moon Chan in her hands waved, forming a galaxy, cold light sweeping and shooting out. Those million rays of magnificent light were entirely torn to shreds. The Water Moon Paradise Fairyland was bumped to pieces. Chan Xian charged out, instantly arriving at her front. The Devil Sealing Crescent Moon staff hit at Abyss Water Moon. Abyss Water Moon was forced into continuously retreated backwards by Chan Xian's staff technique, battered and exhausted. Heavenly Solitary Star Lu Zhishan, why do you renounce my Buddha? My Buddha is born of my heart, hoping only to resolve karma. 11. Chan Xian was neither sorrowful or joyful. What? Just what are you thinking of doing, the most peak Buddhist general that came from Maiden Mountain? Each word she spoke was tranquil enough to penetrate anyone's heart. I am thus, Shaqing. This is the 5 dragons colored glass lamp. Chan Master Jia Yi entered the boundless light. He spotted the Su Xing sitting in meditation, astonished to see the 5 dragons colored glass lamp floating over his head. The 5 dragons of that 5 dragons colored glass lamp coiled about, emitting Buddhist light. From that 5 dragons colored glass lamp was a steady magic energy that irrigated upon Su Xing's body, appearing incomparably dignified. Even a Buddha Kingdom 6 ancestor Chan Master such as Jia Yi was moved. For a moment, Chan Master Jia Yi was somewhat hesitant about whether to make a move or not. Just at this moment, suddenly, a black shadow flit by. That silhouette was extremely quick, dissolving into space. Even supercluster-level cultivation like Chan Master Jia Ye's could only barely detect this. Chan Master Jia Yi waved his palm without thinking, the palm using fragmented shala tree leaves to force away the newcomer. What appeared before him was a young woman of sweet and fair physique. Her black hair stuck close to her body, and she wore a black mask that half covered her face. On her slender hands were two glinting flying claws. Thief Star flee on a drum. Don't even think of getting close to Su Xing. Her claws launched, flying over. What is the meaning of this? How can this man have so many star generals? Chan Master Jia Yi was inwardly puzzled. Nevertheless, his hand was not slow at all, forming a hand seal. Two shala leaves emerged with a snap, stopping the hoodwinking flying claws. Shi Yuan was a martial force star general, after all, not. 2. The threat her star weapon's power could bring to Chan Master Jia was practically negligible. The girl used wind-chasing shadow hiding. Even with Chan Master Jia Ye's divine intent, he was incapable of catching her. Chan Master Jia Yi shook his leg, using an ability, Samgarama Treasure Leaf Sutra. 3. In his surroundings suddenly appeared countless floating shala trees. These shala trees revolved and formed a zone of bliss. Each shala leaf appeared to be lighter than a feather, but a strike on the body was nevertheless heavier than Mount Tai. Even if the thief star's concealment arts were unrivaled underneath the heavens, being unable to approach was wasted effort. Chan Master Jia Yi did not think any further. Extending his hand in a hook, he was about to snatch away the 5 dragons colored glass lamp. Hua hua. Shi Yuan appeared, and the 1,000 layers 10,000 calamities web also emerged. Poor monk is not your enemy. Poor monk wishes only to take back Buddhism's holy item. Chan Master Jia Yi spoke, the Samgarama Treasure Leaf Sutra's countless shala trees encircling the 1,000 layers 10,000 calamities web. In the blink of an eye, they destroyed this web. Shi Yuan was too late to grieve. The 5 poisons banner shook at the same time, and the long already fully charged 5 poisons puppet mechanism spat out the 5 poisons. But all of this was no more than the level of tickling to a super void cultivator. Chan Master Jia Yi did not even look. With a swift step, he scuttled to Su Xing's front, grabbing. Old monk, do not touch Su Xing. Shi Yuan anxiously shouted, the hoodwinking flying claws crisscrossing. Chan Master Jia Yi manifested a Chan staff, blocking the flying claws while extending his hand to grab at the same time. Shi Yuan was greatly worried. Just as Chan Master Jia Yi was about to seize Su Xing, all of a sudden, Chan Master Jia Ye's arm seemed to have been frozen, incapable of reaching any further. Chan Master Jia Yi, this is rude. Su Xing opened his eyes, his expression calm, but his brow was full of a sort of dignity that made Chan Master Jia Yi feel disbelief. Lacking in manners indeed. Chan Master Jia Yi nodded, suddenly reaching out to grab, with the shala leaves like divine soldiers covering Su Xing. Su Xing was aloof. His figure instantly gave Chan Master Jia Yi a sort of phantom sensation, as if he had instantly transformed into a giant pagoda too high to reach, giving rise to an enormous feeling of oppression. Su Xing's divine intent moved. A formless pressure unexpectedly directly firmly suppressed Chan Master Jia Yi's powers. This, Chan Master Jia Yi was completely stupefied. Su Xing. When Shi Yuan saw Su Xing, she charged over happily. Nervously, she asked, did you succeed? More or less. Su Xing nodded. More or less, Wu Xiao and the others are in some danger, go first. Su Xing did not explain. Shi Yuan knew she could not delay. Su Xing opened his palm. The 5 dragons colored glass lamp landed upon it. The boundless light was suddenly sucked by the colored glass lamp. Su Xing's thoughts moved, and a glistening branch flew from his astral bag. The miraculous Bodhi tree. Chan Master Jia Yi was astounded, showing a complex expression. He put his palms together and subconsciously took several steps back. Great Master, do you still want to obstruct me? Su Xing calmly looked at Chan Master Jia Yi. The miraculous Bodhi tree and the 5 dragons' colored glass lamp combined. Suddenly, bluish-green light flashed, and the 5 dragons flickered with multiple colors. Ba. With things already this far, how could Chan Master Jia not understand what was happening? Abyss Water Moon motioned with her hand, continuously adding several amulets onto the compassionate fairy jade pure bottle. Her hand squeezed into hand seals. Aiming a finger at the illusory heavenly solitary star, a blue light the thickness of her pinky shot straight out of the bottle. Abyss Water Moon continuously changed hand seals, circulating her magic energy, and that blue light continued to pursue. The heavenly solitary star's devil sealing crescent moon Chan thrust, and the crescent light shot out. It completely shredded the compassionate fairy jade pure bottle's radiance. Great Master Still Void and Great Master Shenhui hastily thought to rush over when they saw this. Just at this moment, the light at the top of the pagoda receded suddenly. Everyone was astonished, and in several breaths' time, that light that was seemingly a world unto itself had disappeared without a trace. 3 people emerged from within. Oh, no. Great Master Shenhui saw that the 5 dragons' colored glass lamp was in Su Xing's hand. Suddenly, there was a great change. His figure flashed by, directly grabbing at Su Xing. Great Master Still Void did not fall behind, also using full power. Although the 2 Supervoid middle stage ancestors were already more or less exhausted, they reckoned they still had enough to dispatch a galaxy cultivator. Su Xing sneered. 24 flying swords emerged, forming 2 overlapping lights. The sword lights flashed, immediately beating back the pair. Recite the 10,000 Buddhas. When the Buddha's 6 ancestors saw this, they completely did not hesitate to fall back. The weakening 10,000 Buddhas once again manifested their boundless dharmas. Wu Xiao and the others were suffering extremely. Su Xing took a step, appearing with Shi Yuan in between the girls. He then waved his hand, and in the void, a giant lotus flower void unfurled. When this lotus appeared, it transformed into a golden canopy that enveloped Wu Xiao and the other girls. That dharma hovering by their ears immediately disappeared. Wu Xiao was stunned, her eyes somewhat stirred. I've troubled you all just now. Su Xing regretfully said. Wu Xiao shook her head. It is all thanks to Suan. Suan is still resting. Su Xing smiled. Turning his head, he gazed at those Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors putting up a final struggle. Impossible. The meditative mind lotus flower. Everyone was shaken. The meditative mind lotus flower was Buddhism's supreme secret technique. Only those sorts of cultivators who truly achieved supreme enlightenment could possibly comprehend it. This meditative mind lotus flower represented that a cultivator had the highest achievement in Buddhism. Legend said that when this technique emerged, the 3,000 Buddhist sects and millions of dharmas would be instantly comprehended with a snap of the fingers. However, the meditative mind lotus flower honestly was too demanding. Even the Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors were unable to bloom one. In the Buddha Kingdom, there was only one person who had blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower, and he was treated as a Buddha-like existence. And he was precisely Holy Monk Four Noble Truths. How could a star master like you possibly blossom the meditative mind lotus flower? Great Master Still Void showed a hateful expression and attacked Su Xing. Great Master Still Void, becoming angry is certainly not good. Su Xing icily said. The meditative mind lotus flower's petals opened to reveal a Buddha. Suddenly, a powerful pressure pushed directly on Great Master Still Void. A sort of fear made Great Master Still Void's hands and feet incapable of budging. This was not at all a difference in cultivations, and neither was it Su Xing using divine intent to suppress him. Rather, it was because the meditative mind lotus flower concentrated Buddhism's Mahayana and opened that each petal was full of the concentrated reverence and piety of those who followed Dharma. With millions of Dharma gathered, so long as a Buddhist cultivator was still reverent of Buddhism, it was difficult to not have a feeling of fear arise in the heart. That was why the meditative mind lotus flower had that, bloom to see Buddha, reputation. Bang! Great Master Still Void put his palms together and shut his eyes. Su Xing then gazed at Great Master Shen Hui. It is the will of heaven, the will of heaven. Great Master Shen Hui exclaimed. He showed his palm, ending his aggression. Poor monk did not expect that benefactor could surprisingly blossom the meditative mind lotus flower. When he finished speaking, the two great masters were suddenly pale in the face. Their whole bodies trembled, gazing at Su Xing with fright. Su Xing's gaze showed killing intent. He itched to kill these pompous 6 ancestors to relieve the hate in his heart, that is also the will of heaven. Su Xing coldly said, his flying sword slashing. Great Master Shen Hui continuously dodged, crying out, why is benefactor doing this? If a person kills someone, then they must realize the feeling of being killed. Great Master, is your servant wrong? Su Xing's expression sunk. Great Master Shen Hui and the others knew that the man in front of them blamed them for acting against Wu Xiao and the others, but they already were arrows at the end of their paths, battered and bruised to exhaustion by the star generals. If Su Xing acted now, how could they oppose? Let alone that Su Xing had blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower, and that the 5 dragons' lamp had already been lit with Bodhi, even if they had any more star energy, they were incapable of harming him. Benefactors stole our Buddhism's holy object first. How can you have reversed black and white? So what if I did? Su Xing was disinclined to waste anything on this logic. The flying swords cut with a swoosh. Stop. A cold light blocked the flying swords. Heavenly solitary Lu Zhishan obstructed Su Xing's front. Chan Exen. My monastic name is Shaqing. Su Xing, since you have already blossomed the meditative mind lotus seed, you ought to lay down your intent to kill. Lu Shaqing said. Shaqing, you also saw that these monks bullied my wives. Even the 10,000 Buddhas appeared. Can I still treat people fairly? Su Xing chuckled. Lord husband, it is best to forget about this. Wu Xiao at this time stepped out to ameliorate. Just what is happening here? Abbess Water Moon gazed at Su Xing in shock. Poor monk fears that benefactor Su Xing's mind has always had the meditative mind lotus seed for things to be thus. It seems we have all misunderstood him. Chan Master Jia Yi laughed. Su Xing declined to comment. He gazed at Chan Xin. He is but a star master, how could he have possibly blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower? Abbess Water Moon still did not dare believe. Delusion is difficult to see through because it is premised upon the false notions of an I and a you, which boundlessly robs the mind of clarity of insight. This delusion has stained the mind for a very long time, and is the basis and driving force of the continuous cycle of life and death. This is why it is often not possible for delusion to be wiped out immediately. In Buddhism, all things, all dharma, are inherently empty. The pagoda's void vanished and became an ordinary space. Buddha West approaches slowly walked out, benign-faced, reciting an admonition. Holy monk. The Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors saluted. For this benefactor to be able to comprehend the meditative mind lotus seed, he has experienced hardship. He has a connection with my Buddha. You all still are unable to sweep away the filth in your hearts, incapable of seeing clearly. In fact, you should not. Meditate in seclusion for 3 years. Holy monk, 4 noble truths calmly said. He pointed a finger, and the group recovered their vitality. This was not an order, but he allowed them no way to decline. Holy monk, he has but slain Stupa and senior monk extreme happiness, Aratha hastily said. Cause and effect coexist. This cannot be blamed on another person. Holy monk, 4 noble truths was dispassionate. Aratha sighed. He knew that since matters had reached this stage, this could only be blamed on him losing his fundamental nature. Although he was somewhat unwilling, Buddha Kingdom's holy monk had spoken. How could the 6 ancestors dare disobey? Furthermore, this counted as a discreet way to help them out of trouble. Buddha West approaches had exhorted them to meditate for 3 years. Su Xing knew to reap a benefit when he saw it. After the Buddha kingdom's 6 ancestors saluted, they took their leave, watching Su Xing with incomparably complex expressions, especially with distress towards that meditative mind lotus flower. Many thanks to Holy Monk for helping your servant succeed. This 5 dragons colored glass lamp has already been lit with the miraculous Bodhi tree by your servant. Now, your servant returns it to its rightful owner. Su Xing presented his palms, and the 5 dragons colored glass lamp flew before Holy Monk 4 Noble Truths where it floated around. Holy Monk 4 Noble Truths glanced at it. He faintly smiled. This object and benefactor were brought together by fate. Benefactor, just take it. The 5 dragons colored glass lamp became a bolt of gold light that disappeared into Su Xing's astral bag. Su Xing did not refuse. Qingci, you alright? Su Xing saw Qingci was extremely weak, supported by Li Longkue, who was feeling confused. He did not appear to be deliberately feigning while she was completely spent, pale in the face. What was the meaning of this? Su Xing glanced at the others. Wu Xiao and the girls did not know. Lord Su, Qingci never expected you to be able to bloom the meditative mind lotus flower. Qingci is truly impressed. Qingci forced a smile. Su Xing did not know what a good reply was. Shaqing, really, many thanks for just now. Su Xing then thanked Lu Shaqing. If it was not for Heavenly Solitary Star Lu Shaqing acting on the 10,000 Buddhas, at that time, the meditative mind lotus flower basically could never bloom. Your meditative mind lotus flower is not yet perfect, correct? Lu Shaqing saw through him with a glance. The 1,000-layered lotus flower in the void seemed to cover heaven, but upon closer inspection, the center of the flower still had a bud that had not fully opened. Su Xing nodded, not concealing this. The meditative mind lotus flower was worthy of being called Buddhism's supreme secret treasure. Even when a prehistoric spirit treasure like the 5 dragons colored glass lamp and something as imposing as the 10,000 Buddhas were added to Su Xing's heart still as water realm, the meditative mind lotus flower still did not fully bloom. Vaguely inside his heart, there was still something missing, and Su Xing could not clearly describe it. Ji Shaqing nodded. Let's go, Sister Yingmei is still waiting for us. When Shi Yuan said these words, Qingci froze. Su Xing gazed at Shaqing, quite reluctant to part. Heavenly Solitary Star, are you willing or unwilling to participate in the star duels with us? Wu Xiao saw this and spoke. In this life, Shaqing does not have any intentions to participate in the star duels at all. Lu Shaqing calmly replied. Then your servant truly feels this is a pity. If there is a connection, then we shall meet again. Su Xing slightly smiled, preparing to leave. Hearing Su Xing say these words, Lu Shaqing's heart could not help but have a ripple. Su Xing, wait a moment. Su Xing turned around. Shaqing is determined to comprehend the Chan of the star duels with the holy monk, but having received a disturbance, Lu Shaqing was very solemn. Can I help you do anything? Su Xing scratched his head. Lu Shaqing grasped the devil sealing crescent moon Chan. She took in a deep breath, her gaze like a torch. She seriously and imposingly stared at Su Xing. Cut it down, what? Before Su Xing could come to his senses. Heavenly Solitary Star Lu Zhishan shockingly revolted. That devil sealing crescent moon Chan drew past Su Xing. A terrifying force brought an intense wind pressure, shooting in all directions like a blade. Countless fragments already instantly sealed all of the space. A tyrannically chilly attack without the slightest bit of intent of kidding around. Su Xing was too late to deal with it. He subconsciously used his martial arts abilities, his entire person instantly ducking close together, as if he was a flying fish sticking close to and gliding over the water's surface. His speed increased a level. The devil sealing crescent moon Chan's imposing air seemed to not exist before him. This scene made everyone stupefied, but the true attack absolutely was not these seeming fragments of wind pressure. Rather, it was the Heavenly Solitary Star's fist that was already fully charged. Within the powerful wind pressure, Su Xing's figure was like a sea swallow piercing through a hurricane. Arhat punch. The heavenly solitary star's punch already seemed about to heavily cut Su Xing down to pieces. Su Xing was dumbstruck, completely unaware of what Lu Shaqing was doing. The meditative mind lotus flower opened, and his two fists went forth and slammed against the Arhat punch. When Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang saw that Lu Shaqing attacked Su Xing, they were also about to make a move, but Wu Xiao stopped them. Xiao, this is the karma that Lord Husband and the heavenly solitary star must resolve. We must not make a move. Shaqing will not harm Lord Husband at all. Wu Xiao slowly said. The heavenly solitary star already was determined to comprehend the Chan of the star duels. However, by doing so, she required the 5 aggregates to be calm, to know the world was an illusion. Buddhism's greatest taboo was the word feeling. 5, the so-called have too much feeling, and you shall fall. Have too much perception, and you shall ascend. Have half of feeling and half of perception, and you shall have the world. 6. True Buddhism Great Chan can be said to be a feelingless object. Su Xing had only just thanked Lu Shaqing. Yan Yizhen and the others could not easily take action, and moreover, that Buddha West approaches would perhaps obstruct them. They could only stare closely at Su Xing, but what use does attacking Su Xing have? Shi Yuan was greatly confused. Shaqing. Qingxi's side softly called. Shaqing. Wang Jingji and the others were taken aback. Attacking Lord Su is only to have Lord Su make a move. When asked how to explain the word feeling, there is only killing intent that is capable of ridding it. So long as Lord Su shows killing intent towards Shaqing, the word feeling in the heavenly solitary star's heart will naturally break. Qingxi sighed. Her heart did not know why she felt somewhat regretful. She should have seen that it was plain the heavenly solitary star held no feeling towards Su Xing, but when this matter truly occurred before her eyes, Qingxi only felt her heart constrict. In the end, she had lost to Su Xing. Elder sister Qingxi, when you speak with us, do not always mention that man as Lord Su. It is annoying. Lu Fang complained. Qingxi's pale face was suddenly red. She had become somewhat accustomed to this. However, he is very incredible, to surprisingly be able to make the heavenly solitary star stir her feelings. Just what is the background of this man, to even bloom the meditative mind lotus flower? Honestly, it is confusing. Wang Jingji was actually increasingly curious about Su Xing. The others deeply felt the same. If elder sister does not kill him, she will regret it in the future. Li Longkue coldly helped remind her. Qingxi has propriety. Qingxi did not wish to say more. Shaqing, what are you doing? Lu Shaqing's attack was fierce, each move rushing towards Su Xing's vital spots. There was an abundance of a spirit of a life or death struggle. Su Xing honestly could not understand how when they had just been on such good terms that she could about face so suddenly. This was too baffling. If you wish to blossom the meditative mind lotus flower, then do not spare Shaqing any feeling. Lu Shaqing's expression was ice-cold to the bone. Su Xing called forth a flying sword. Heaven tearing descended, the sword's tip slashing. Lu Shaqing's staff broke it. This was not enough, there was no killing intent. The heavenly solitary star jumped, her figure already like a meteorite outside the sky. Carrying a frightening kinetic energy and air-ripping whistle, she swiftly rushed down from the sky. Before she even got close, a massive pressure already pushed towards Su Xing, covering the sky and earth. The ground rolled up with cracks, the air surged with noise, adding even more might. Su Xing pointed, and Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder became several giant lotuses that revolved around. Bang! The lotus flowers suddenly broke apart. Su Xing flashed by, dodging Lu Shaqing's strike. If you wish to bloom the meditative mind lotus flower, just act. Lu Shaqing coldly smiled. Her hands gripped the devil sealing crescent moon Chan, one hand grabbing at the air. A powerful sucking force grasped Su Xing's whole body to pull him over. 7, and the devil sealing crescent moon Chan came sweeping at him head-on. Sensing Lu Shaqing's resolution, Su Xing stowed his relaxed appearance. He activated the meditative mind lotus flower to unfurl in response to Lu Shaqing's exclamation. Borrowing it to jump high, he soared to high altitudes. Although I don't know what you're thinking of doing, Shaqing, your servant shall oblige you. Su Xing only treated this to be the same as when he originally sparred with Lin Yingmei, and his will to fight ignited. With one hand gripping his hair fluttering with the gale, the Su Xing who swiftly plunged from the sky put one hand in front, and then pulled his other hand completely behind him. The star energy of his whole body circulated to protect him, and one after another of countless violently revolving air rings seemingly springing forth from nothing appeared in his surroundings. In the end, they gathered into a powerful, dragon-like tornado, enveloping Su Xing. The meditative mind lotus flower bloomed inch by inch as it rapidly fell, carrying with it a powerful force as it plunged. Everyone was stifled. Lu Shaqing's expression carelessly moved. She used one hand to meet it head-on. Boom! An enormous noise like an earthquake jolted the 7-floor stupa pagoda. Only after a long while did it slowly settle. Incredible! Su Xing grit his teeth in amazement. The Tathagata divine palm he had learned from Kung Fu was surprisingly caught by Lu Shaqing with one hand. Her tremendous monster strength was completely not inferior to his power. Shaqing, this still isn't enough. Su Xing smiled. Before Lu Shaqing could understand, the star energy rings on Su Xing's body descended one after another. Each time, they struck her body, raising ripples of seeming disintegration. The pagoda once again shook. This time, everyone nearly was unbalanced. Did Su Xing finally act out? Qingxi sighed. The dust cleared. Lu Shaqing was somewhat in a difficult situation. Her clothes had burst apart, revealing snowy shoulders and a bare back. Even her tube top was exposed, her breasts towering. Flowery tattoos were practically crammed from her shoulder down her back, beautiful enough to be shocking. Sorry. Su Xing sweat. The Chan thoughts in his mind suddenly vanished. He hastily flipped out a set of clothes to cover her with. Lu Shaqing's face was completely red, her eyes nevertheless moist. Why? 8? Su Xing was taken aback. Why is your killing intent not enough? Lu Shaqing raised the Chan staff. Su Xing nimbly evaded. The heavenly solitary star wrathfully drew near. Those clothes covering her fell away from her body. The girl drew near, one hand seizing Su Xing's collar and about to pummel him. When Su Xing saw that things were not good, he used softness to conquer strength, pressing on Lu Shaqing's wrist and shoulders, then exchanged their centers of gravity. Lu Shaqing watched, stunned. Before she could understand, Su Xing already pushed her onto the ground, and their lips nearly pressed together. Shaqing, what killing intent? Su Xing said. A manly yawn entered her nostrils. Lu Shaqing only felt her heart's distractions become increasingly entrenched, unable to budge at all. Go away. Lu Shaqing pushed, her arm strength boundless as she directly pushed Su Xing aside. Qingxi was already speechless. She felt that Lu Shaqing attempting to force killing intent out of Su Xing to sever her feelings was simply a gain that did not make up the losses. Now, it seems that Su Xing not only lacked killing intent, he had apparently thrown himself into a battle with her. The more they enjoyed themselves, the more their styles were intimate. How was this feelings of killing? 9. Clearly, this was flirtation. 10. Suddenly, Lu Shaqing halted her attack. She coldly glared at Su Xing, her skin already secreting sweat. The heavenly solitary star glanced at Shi Yuan and the others. All of a sudden, she coldly snorted, again attacking Su Xing. Su Xing proceeded to block. Just at this moment, Lu Shaqing changed directions, astonishingly aiming her attack at Tang Lianxin. This sudden turn made everyone surprised. Lu Shaqing's hands gripped the devil-sealing crescent moon Chan, slashing at Tang Lianxin. The relaxed smile disappeared from Su Xing's face, and his figure flashed by. 24 flying swords opened, their imposing sword tips brimming with swiftness and severity, slight killing intent diffusing. Sending Lu Shaqing back. Tang Lianxin was startled. Su Xing appeared in front of her, the flying swords protecting them. His tone was disdainful. Lu Shaqing, are you serious? Killing intent? Lu Shaqing felt killing intent, but her heart nevertheless had a sort of indescribable discomfort. So it turned out to be this, after all. Only this can make you raise the mind to kill. Lu Shaqing again recovered her calm. The faint distress in her eyes was covered fabulously. That instant, both sides had extremely cold imposing airs. Enough. Wu Xiao, who could no longer watch, obstructed in the middle of Su Xing and Lu Shaqing, rebuking them head-on. Wifey, what's the matter? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Lu Shaqing merely wishes to sever the word, feeling, that she would do this. Wu Xiao said. Sever the word, feeling? Su Xing temporarily did not understand. Wu Xiao glared at him, her expression saying, was it not because of your mistake that made the heavenly solitary star angry? Su Xing looked at Lu Shaqing in shock. Could it be actually because of this? The slight red on Lu Shaqing's face was a clear answer. It is not good to speak so much. Benefactor Su Xing, if you truly care for Shaqing, then please help Shaqing slay these thoughts. Shaqing, so it was this all along. Su Xing raised his hand to look at the sitting Saint West approaches, his voice somewhat interrogative. Holy monk, could it be that this is the plan? To comprehend the meditative mind, the word, feeling, will only increase perplexion. Holy monk, Four Noble Truths answered. Shaqing honestly is extremely funny. Su Xing coldly laughed. All of the girls were taken aback. They never thought Su Xing would dare to use contempt this way, speaking to Holy monk Four Noble Truths with an angry tone. Could it be that benefactor believes that it is wrong for Shaqing to comprehend the meditative mind? Holy monk Four Noble Truths opened his eyes and faintly smiled. I did not say that. Su Xing said. Shaqing. And, who said that you had to kill your feelings to comprehend Chan? If a person does not have feelings, then he is a dead man walking. Shaqing, could it be that the holy monk also feels that you need to turn yourself into a walking corpse first to comprehend Chan? Su Xing asked. Shaqing merely wishes to break these distracting thoughts. What relationship does that have with being a walking corpse? Lu Shaqing said. I only know that the proof people existed in the world is only because of feeling. Great Master also knows that how could those followers of Buddhism not have come out of feelings? Buddha said that, I glanced back 500 times into pre-life, only to exchange for an encounter with you in this life. How can this killing of feelings not be laughable? Lu Shaqing did not have a reply. Su Xing looked, shook his head, and walked towards Lu Shaqing, slowly reciting, that day, closing my eyes in the sutra hall's fragrant mist, suddenly I heard your chanting of incantations. 11. Lu Shaqing was taken aback, and the others were also stunned. Su Xing slowly recited as he walked over. That month, I shook all of my sutra containers, not for ceremony, but only to touch your fingertips. 12. Su Xing drew increasingly near, making Lu Shaqing's heart suddenly feel a sort of indescribable confusion. Su Xing continued to recite. It was obviously very soft, but Lu Shaqing heard him very clearly, her heart shaken. That lifetime turned to mountains, turned to waters, not to study life, but only to meet with you along the way. 13. When Su Xing finished chanting the last stanza, he was already in front of Lu Shaqing. His face wore a faint smile, making Lu Shaqing have a sort of feeling of wanting to duck away from his gaze. However, her legs were seemingly run through with stakes, and she could only be trapped in this place. What are you saying? Lu Shaqing's face was even redder, somewhat resentful. All of the girls were stupefied by the love poem that Su Xing recited. Su Xing nevertheless smiled. This is nothing more than something a certain senior monk wrote, and every word carried this feeling word with them for his Buddha. Is killing your feelings the truth of Buddhism? Su Xing's counter-question made Lu Shaqing unable to retort. But Lu Shaqing clearly was still hesitating. Shaqing, if you truly wish to kill your feelings to comprehend the meditative mind, I will help you. Su Xing sighed. Lu Shaqing lifted her head, her gaze complex. Yes. Su Xing spread his arms. Make a move. Seeing Su Xing did not have the intent to counterattack, Lu Shaqing froze. Why do you not act? It is because of me that you are trapped. To want to kill your feelings is not simple. Su Xing pointed to his stomach, calmly saying, stab right here, and henceforth, you and I will no longer be interconnected. Everyone was shaken. Qingxi felt she had misheard. She increasingly was unable to see through the man in front of her, surprisingly mentioning this sort of art of killing feeling. However, upon careful thought, Qingxi's body shuddered. Lord husband. Master. The beauties cried out in alarm. No need to mind them. If you stab me, I won't die. I'll probably be gravely wounded. Just treat it as you helping me blossom this meditative mind lotus flower. How about it? This type of killing feelings is very simple. Su Xing smiled. Lu Shaqing was stunned, her whole body trembling, her limpid eyes increasingly blank. Su Xing actually opened his chest wide for her to pierce. How could Lu Shaqing do so? This completely violated her Chan study. Why? I won't hate you. Su Xing seriously said. Crafty, you are too crafty. Lu Shaqing, you cannot engage him, he is merely thinking of bewitching you. Qingxi's heart had a shouting voice, but she nevertheless was unable to speak out. Lu Shaqing gripped her weapon hesitantly. Hesitation cannot turn into a big deal, allow your servant to cut this karma. Su Xing suddenly seized her weapon, and in front of everyone's eyes he forcefully stabbed at his stomach. Suddenly, the tip pierced through and appeared out his back. He was drenched in blood. Lord husband. Wu Xiao and the others suffered and wanted to rush over. Don't come over. This is between me and the heavenly solitary star. Su Xing held Lu Shaqing's hand, piercing his stomach. His consciousness was very hazy. Su Xing used all of his power to maintain consciousness. He could not let go before Lu Shaqing did. I will not die and can even obtain your meditative mind. You can also kill your feelings, have it both ways. What are you waiting for? He smiled, maintaining consciousness with difficulty. It broke. That fearless expression thoroughly broke Lu Shaqing's final thought. Under everyone's stares, Lu Shaqing released her hand. She stuck her lips on Su Xing's, a deep kiss full of passion. Everyone was dumbfounded. Su Xing also did not expect this, and his eyes widened. Suddenly, he felt his forehead flash with a searing pain, and Lu Shaqing's forehead also simultaneously glimmered with a star crest. The two star crests began to link, finally interweaving together. Heavenly solitary star Lu Shaqing had signed a contract. Do not commit folly. Lu Shaqing coldly said, turning her head away. Under the heavenly solitary star's contract, the puncture wound on Su Xing's body immediately disappeared, and his star power was full. A powerful star energy welled up in his body, and his boiling blood turned the galaxy in his body into a surging ocean. Su Xing surprisingly entered supercluster stage at the same time. And simultaneously, he also unfurled the meditative mind lotus flower's final bud in a breathtaking blossom. Ah, didn't you want to? Su Xing was very surprised. Lu Shaqing was silent. Instead, she gazed at Holy Monk Four Noble Truths. Holy Monk, Shaqing, to use feelings to comprehend Chan is also my Buddha's wish. Holy Monk Four Noble Truths was sincere. Lord husband, you truly were too impulsive just now. Wu Xiao and the others ran over, somewhat rebuking. Su Xing's stab just now made her heart break. I wouldn't die, and I thought there wouldn't be any disadvantages. Su Xing said out of embarrassment. I didn't expect it. Turning his head to gaze at Holy Monk Four Noble Truths exchanging words with the heavenly solitary star, this contract honestly was somewhat unprecedented. Wu Xiao also did not expect this. Perhaps Lord Husband's recitation of that poem touched her. And, this young lady quite wishes to devote herself. Shi Yuan nodded. Your Highness, do you truly believe that feelings are very important? Gongsun Huang sat on Su Xing's shoulder and expressed bewilderment. And, of course. People are not vegetables, which can be without feeling. Su Xing smiled. Then, does your Highness like 14, little Huang? Gongsun Huang blinked. Of course, how could you be my wife if I didn't like you? Su Xing said. How much do you like little Huang? Gongsun Huang made a rare follow-up question. Buddhist scripture says, I would turn into a stone bridge, endure 500 years of blowing wind, 500 years of shining sun, 500 years of pelting rain just for you to walk past over the bridge. Su Xing seriously said. Wu Xiao and the other girls were red in the face. Your Highness, little Huang likes you. Gongsun Huang clasped Su Xing's cheeks, sweetly kissing him. Watch this. Back to Lin Yingmei and Wu Xinjie, the pair were still waiting for Su Xing to emerge after having settled Qin Mingyue and Faceless. How could they have known that the Buddha's 6 ancestors actually would be the first to leave? The result was that before hearing anything, the Happiness Together Courtyard's group of cultivators began to make moves. Upon asking, they learned that senior monk Extreme Happiness had surprisingly died. Not only this, but the Stupa Saber Fast's Buddhist cultivators also followed. The other ancestors were not at all aware of the relationship between Su Xing and Wu Xinjie. However, the Happiness Together Courtyard nevertheless understood that they now had to cooperate with the Stupa Saber Fast to exact revenge. The air instantly was torn apart by countless Buddhist auras and saber lights. All of the Buddhist cultivators simultaneously used their powers, artifacts, and magic weapons. Although their power was small, this many people acting at the same time actually had an imposing air that was a bit frightening. The sabers, swords, and Chan staffs in their hands were full of a killing intent that Buddhists ought not have. These cultivators of resentment turned fury had already rushed over along with their killing murderous auras. Although they did not have the psychic communication on the level of a star generals, their coordination of this time's powers made their attack possess formidable power. However, from Lin Yingmei's perspective, this honestly was not worth a glance. All of their aggression was instantly frozen, and the wind ceased its flow. The artifacts, magic weapons, and arms were deflected by a cold wind. The cultivators were a bit flustered, but something immediately far more frightening was right behind. Lin Yingmei's eyes flashed with a chill. Swinging her spear, a powerful force rushed into the ground. The vanished wind suddenly bubbled forth and reappeared as a mad gale. Her rising hand brought with it an unexpectedly stirring up blizzard of ice and snow. Things happened so suddenly, leading to those cultivators to completely unceremoniously slam together with the blizzard. Some cultivators broke through the blizzard's obstruction, but they instantly were already unable to seize Lin Yingmei's traces. A berserk wind roared, flitting directly across the ends of the earth like a dagger piercing the heart. A succession of groans resounded. Those cultivators fell one after another. Lin Yingmei ascended towards the sky, her speed extremely quick, as if she wanted to break free the fetters of her body. The remaining cultivators noticed her presence, but they apparently were already too late. From the sky instantly came a terrifying pressure. All of the cultivators immediately raised their heads together. Lin Yingmei's silhouettes already wildly pounced down towards them like demons and gods. During her rapid descent, her head lowered, and her leg kicked up. The cold light in her eyes suddenly glinted, and her spear technique was brandished. Thereupon, the inevitable outcome was a crushing defeat. Do not kill them. Wu Xinjie smiled, the other Buddhist sects will sort them out. N. Lin Yingmei retracted her spear. Suddenly, a crimson star dazzled in the sky. Truly, he is a man that gives people headaches. Far away, Chao Gai muttered to herself, hiding with difficulty the cheerful smile in her eyes. Su Xing exited the 7th-floor stupa pagoda. Lin Yingmei and Wu Xinjie had already waited for a long time, and when they saw Su Xing was safe and sound, though their appearances emitted an air of dignity, the knowledge star that was fine as hair joyfully leapt into Su Xing's embrace. Congratulations, young lord, for blossoming the lotus flower. He, your cultivation has also reached supercluster stage. Have you encountered trouble on the outside? You had a star duel. Su Xing looked at the surroundings. A sheet of shattered ice and snow recounted what had happened. Inside the 7th-floor stupa pagoda, a crimson star's power had fallen into Su Xing's body, clearly explaining that outside, Lin Yingmei had battled a star general. Just a little trouble. Wu Xinjie winked, her hands presenting evil star faceless Jiao Ting's 4-star, heaven and earth inverted boxing gloves. Su Xing exclaimed. Not too long before, Yan Yizhen had competed against Jiao Ruoxue atop an arena. Meeting them again, the latter had now star-fallen. Young lord, a crimson star appeared just now. Has young lord helped us increase our sisters again? Wu Xinjie covered her smile. Lin Yingmei's gaze concentrated on Wu Xiao, with a sort of expectation. Perhaps she believed that crimson star just now was Wu Xiao and Su Xing contracting. It was not your servants. It is heavenly solitary star flowery monk Lu Zhishan's. Wu Xiao shook her head. What? The two girls were stupefied. Lu Zhishan. Her. Lin Yingmei's eyes were full of shock, gazing at Su Xing with great bewilderment. Really? However, where is she? Wu Xinjie blinked. She did not come along. Su Xing explained. Although that Shaqing has signed a contract with young lord, she still wants to comprehend the meditative mind of the star duels, so she didn't follow along. Shi Yuan to the side pouted an explanation, quite upset at the heavenly solitary star's rebellious conduct. Just what is the meaning of this? Su Xing helplessly explained. Originally, after signing the contract, heavenly solitary star Lu Shaqing indeed became Su Xing's star general, but Lu Shaqing's original aspirations nevertheless did not change. Although she did not kill her feelings, carrying feelings to comprehend Chan was not impossible in comprehending the star duels. On the contrary, perhaps these feelings would become Lu Shaqing's motivation for comprehending Chan. Su Xing also felt that, in this world, the best way to change a person was this word, feeling, so this was unavoidably impossible. Lu Shaqing's pursuit of the meditative mind could be said to be her dedication. Even after signing a contract, this did not change. Although Su Xing could exploit command enforcement to compel Lu Shaqing to accompany him, doing so appeared too selfish. It completely went against his original intentions, let alone that his kiss contract with her was a very surprising matter. Su Xing abided by her with an after hearing these words, Wu Xinjie and Lin Yingmei were again moved. Contracting the renowned heavenly solitary star originally was very shocking, and to allow her to go comprehend Chan and not participate in the star duels, this had never happened across the 9 generations of star duels. Lu Shaqing is actually very versed in the meditative mind. Yan Yizhen was somewhat impressed. The others felt the same. The previous heavenly solitary stars all indulged in wine and meat, unmatched star generals that uprooted willow trees when they saw a bumpy road. Their temperaments were each offhand, incomparably unrestrained. To say they were monks was not as good as saying they were fierce generals. This heavenly solitary star nevertheless surprisingly possessed the capacity of growth, a meditative mind that would make anyone bow in deference. What was she doing signing a contract with Su Xing if she doesn't want to participate in the star duels? Shi Yuan still was somewhat troubled by this. Isn't this very good? By doing so, they had no need to worry about Shaqing in the future. If Shaqing felt that comprehending Chan could partake in the mystery of the star duels, how was this not a good thing? Su Xing stroked Shi Yuan's head. What young lord said is right. Wu Xinjie nodded in approval. Wu Xiao and Lin Yingmei did not feel this was wrong at all. From the current perspective, Su Xing's 8-star general lineup was already unprecedented since the dawn of time to the most recent generation. To speak of the star duels, now that Su Xing's cultivation had not only reached a breakthrough to supercluster stage, even blossoming a holy item like the meditative mind lotus flower and possessing Buddhism's highest prehistoric spirit treasure, the Five Dragons lamp, across all of Liangshan continent, only the cooperation of all star generals could bring him trouble, or perhaps some heavenly star forging a superb 5-star or higher destined weapon. Otherwise, Su Xing completely lacked danger. The heavenly solitary star did not follow at Su Xing's side to participate in the star duels was perhaps she felt there was no need to do more than what was required. This young lady does not want to play the villain. Shi Yuan looked at the other sisters, all of them with tears streaming down their cheeks. Lord Su, Qingxi still has other matters and shall take her leave first. The Qingxi that was blank for a while slightly smiled and interrupted their discussion. After brief introductions, Qingxi glanced at Lin Yingmei and Wu Xinjie, leaving upon an astral tool without the slightest bit of reluctance. Gazing at that graceful back, Wu Xinjie said in contemplation, "This Qingxi is somewhat not simple." Su Xing nodded. "There is another matter concerning Qin Ming that we must inform young lord," Wu Xinjie explained simply the events of Qin Mingyue and Lin Yingmei's battle. When she mentioned that Qin Mingyue had been killed and did not starfall, everyone was astonished. Young lord once said that in Evil Smiting Hall, Qingxi sought out jade-armed craftsman Jin Qiongyu. The jade-armed craftsman has now appeared alongside Qin Mingyue. It seems they are on Qingxi's side. Wu Xinjie surmised. Ah! Could she be the same as Su Xing, able to hold multiple contracts? Shi Yuan asked in astonishment. It must be the uprising. Su Xing muttered. When he first saw Qingxi and Li Longkue, he had then took out the birth treasure outline. Li Longkue's contract status was uprising, but without a star master. Uprising? Wu Xiao's pupils shrunk, as if she had recalled something. Wu Xinjie smiled, then could Qingxi actually be her, Song Jiang? It cannot be, she is leader star Song Jiang. This honestly surpassed their imaginations. Gong Sun Huang sat on Su Xing's shoulder. She lowered her head to look, then blinked, as if she had seen Su Xing's thoughts. Possibly, but the birth treasure outline couldn't display her identity. Su Xing was not too sure. In actuality, when he first knew of the uprising status, Su Xing felt that Qingxi was possibly Song Jiang. After all, Song Jiang's innate skill, uprising, was considerably famous in Liangshan, but that the birth treasure outline completely lacked a response was somewhat unusual. Slave servant has never heard of previous leader star Song Jiang's capable of uprising star generals. Yan Yizhen asked a question. This was also another reason that Su Xing felt bewildered. The changes in the 9th generation star duels are honestly big. Wu Xinjie also could not figure this out. So Shaqing wanting to comprehend the meditative mind of the star duels is not a bad thing. Su Xing curled his lips. Everyone smiled. Shi Yuan rolled her eyes. But senior brother will be bestowed another calamity by Chao Gai. Tang Lianxin's expression was dejected. That Chao Gai thinks she can be unbridled. The next time we encounter her, your servant will suffer crushed bones and a torn body to absolutely not have her way with Lord Husband. Wu Xiao coldly said. Your servant will not spare anything. Lin Yingmei's gaze was absolutely cold. As far as they were concerned, Chao Gai's conduct was practically an extreme disgrace to them as star generals. Even if they knew their power was no match, they were determined to fight with everything they had to the death. Su Xing broke into laughter. That Chao Gai seems to be helping me. He now knew that the meditative mind lotus flower was far more powerful than he had imagined earlier. To be able to plant this sort of seed of great power in Su Xing's sea of consciousness and declare this a calamity was a covert means of secretly aiding him. Young master, Lord Husband. Lin Yingmei and Wu Xiao simultaneously stared. If we can't defeat her, forget it. However, at that time, I will definitely stand beside my wives. Su Xing clearly stated his position. And it's honestly repulsive for that Chao Gai to play around with people in the palm of her hand. Next time, I'm going to use the meditative mind lotus flower to spank her. All of the girls perspired. Gongsun Huang suddenly tugged Su Xing's shoulder. What's the matter, little Huang? Just as he was chatting happily with the beauties, Su Xing suddenly raised his head. The little loli blinked her limpid eyes, extending her hand to point out front. Following her indication, they spotted on a temple in front of them, there was an awe-inspiring woman standing in the wind. Her figure was fair, her sense of beauty fully visible. Su Xing sweated. Speak of the devil. Chao Gai, you really do keep my young lord constantly in your mind. Wu Xinjia's smile sunk. Her imposing air immediately turned serious. All the girls showed cautious, vigilant and cold expressions. The meditative mind lotus flower. Thou hast actually blossomed it. However, to surprisingly even contract the heavenly solitary star, it seems thou hast truly turned a deaf ear to this one's words. Chao Gai's indifferent tone was like she was speaking of something superficial. Everything is all thanks to you. Su Xing's hand beckoned. The 24 flying swords emerged, and the meditative mind lotus flower opened its layers, its light considerably imposing, its might shaking in all directions. Chao Gai nodded, a silent attitude. And what do you want to do this time? Chao Gai, your servant will not allow you to do whatever you please with Lord Husband. Wu Xiao's tone was extremely cold. The heavenly solitary star does not accompany thee at thy side? Chao Gai shook her head, faintly smiled and pointed. But there was no imposing air as they had imagined at all. There is no need to be so hostile. This time, this one has come before you not to confer a calamity, but to give your lord husband a piece of advice. What? Including Su Xing, these words surprised them. Su Xing certainly remembered that Chao Gai said she would confer a calamity if he contracted another star general. Now that he had 8 star generals, at the very least, there was still the third calamity. However, Su Xing did not believe that Chao Gai not changing her idea was because of the threat of Wu Xiao and the others. Without first mentioning whether or not they could prevail, passing through a war with Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors, everyone long already was exhausted. Their strength was in overdraft, so how was victory possible? Advice? The meditative mind lotus seed has already bloomed. This one has no calamity to give you. Since, Su Xing, you have not placed this one's warning in your heart, this time, this one shall give thee a piece of advice. Chao Gai's gaze shifted to the horizon. In that direction was the heaven-supporting pillar, Maiden Mountain. There is still more than a month. The third phase Evil Smiting Hall will then be completely finished. At that time, Maiden Mountain's trials for thee will naturally come. Compared to the trials of Maiden Mountain, this one's calamities are not worth a mention. Chao Gai cast her gaze down. Su Xing could hear the trembling in her words. This one can inform thee, if you do not wish to repent in the future, then in this 1 month, develop as much as you can your powers. At that time, you will understand the difficulty of the situations you face. Even if Emperor Liang moved the entire Great Liang dynasty, he is powerless to save you. Think carefully. Hast thou finished preparing to bear the price of breaking the rules? Chao Gai made a rare smile, her smile containing a different kind of danger. Su Xing and the girls looked at each other in dismay. The previous relaxed mood was gone. Her words were far more dangerous than a calamity. In this heavy atmosphere of discomfort, suddenly, from the horizon came a resonant bell sound. Dang! 2. The crisp sound of a bell immediately woke Su Xing and the girls from their discomfort. The sound of the bell rang, with a sort of unprecedented warmth. Su Xing and the beauties turned their heads. In the faraway center of the Buddha Kingdom, high on the 7 floors stupa pagoda, a woman knocked one hand against an ancient bell, as if she was jolting awake everyone under heaven. Shaqing, although she was far in the horizon, Lu Shaqing also was seemingly beside them, and Su Xing's heart bubbled with warmth. Let's go. No price can take you from my side, I swear. Su Xing's expression was incomparably resolute, calmly turning around. The beauties knowingly smiled. Their hearts were happy with warmth, following Su Xing's pace, having never thought of retreating. Maiden Mountain can watch this defeat in a millennium, the bell's noise rang throughout the world. Comprehending Chan only to realize destiny and cultivating to obtain the Sutra of Life, destruction and withering and thriving of all things had caused to be preordained with the Kasaya's inherent lack of peace in the Pure Land. The world of mortals did not pollute the nature of the temple's ancient thousand-year bell that drowned out dreams, Chao Gai's faint muttering. 3. Third volume, Defeat in a Millennium. Black clouds pressed down on the city, like a gigantic black pot covering the heavens that also enshrouded the entire ecliptic city in darkness. The black clouds surged, thunder and lightning rolled, and the commoners inside the city had already ducked into their homes. Not a single person was seen on the streets. Occasionally, there were only several barks of yellow dogs wagging their tails, appearing even more desolate, a terrifying scene like that from the end of days. In this dark and deathly still city, there was the ecliptic palace's Connect Heaven Pagoda. In the gale came an indistinct, sinister laugh. Jiang Jing, do not force us more than you already have. If you do not quickly go do it, this man will die a very wretched death. At the top of the Connecting Heaven Pagoda, on a platform several dozen zhang wide stood several ecliptic palace cultivators. Among them was a young man whose voice was entirely fierce. In his hand, he grasped a man by the ear as he spoke to a girl. The middle-aged man hung his head, his face full of blood, his teeth cracked and broken. His eyes had swelled shut. He squeezed out a smile that was more pitiful than weeping. Shui Shui, don't listen to them. Uncle Hai. The girl cried out bitterly. That girl's flowery beauty was full of tears, pitiful. The two of them were Jiang Shui and her star master, Zhi Hai. The youth grabbing the middle-aged man was also a star master. Huang Yan looked at the Jiang Shui trapped in the Connecting Heaven array, and his voice sunk. Jiang Jing, so much time has already been wasted. You had best quickly follow what I told you to go do and inform your servant what the future result of the star duels is. Otherwise, you can watch this man be ground to death by me. Little sister Ilyo, please, have him release Uncle Hai. He is innocent. He has never thought of participating in the star duels. Jiang Shui pleaded with Yang Ilyo. Yang Ilyo could not bear to see her sister this way. Just as she was about to speak, Huang Yan interrupted her. Ilyo, you cannot have compassion in your heart within the star duels. Could it be you have forgotten that you were defeated by the thief star? We already cannot compare to those heavenly martial generals. If you have any more kindness in your heart, then there will only be no hope of reprieve. Huang Yan's words were irrefutable. Yang Ilyo understood that much. Little sister. Jiang Shui wept. Elder sister can only blame herself for bringing him into the star duels. Yang Ilyo grit her teeth, speaking in pain. Humph, divine mathematician, you had best quickly calculate our future destiny. If it is useful, be at ease, with star generals like yourself, I will guarantee that I will release you and your star master. Huang Yan mercifully extended a glimmer of hope. With this, Connecting Heaven Pagoda, reacting to the 108 stars, we believe your divine calculation ought to be able to calculate even more heavenly mysteries. Do not make me disappointed. Huang Yan sneered. He threw Zhi Hai to the ground, not minding this man at his last gasp. He patted off his hands, to brush off that filth. Uncle Hai extended a hand powerlessly to grab Jiang Shui, showing a pained smile that made the divine mathematician's heart break. Young master, could it be this sort of method will actually work? Latent star white flower serpent Yang Ilyo asked. No problem. So long as we can foresee future events, we can definitely create a miracle in the star duels. Ilyo, do you not want to do things this way? Huang Yan was very stern. Ilyo merely feels this is too. Yang Ilyo shook her head. After all, they were sisters. Seeing Jiang Jing's appearance, her heart was considerably uncomfortable. Seeing Huang Yan's expression of evil, she concealed her anger. Yang Ilyo sighed. However, what young master said is true. We absolutely cannot show kindness in the star duels. Those elder sisters never showed mercy killing us. Elio, that you can think like this extremely good. Huang Yan was very satisfied. Su Xing left the Buddha kingdom, and at the same time, he left behind in the Buddha kingdom a world-shocking legend that had never happened in millions of years. The Happiness Together courtyard and Stupa saber fast were destroyed after confronting Lin Yingmei. Su Xing blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower, and those monks could no longer be unbridled, not daring to move in the slightest. Regardless of whether it was defeating the Buddha kingdom's 6 ancestors, or the 5 dragons lamp and meditative mind lotus flower, the events that transpired these days in the Buddha kingdom could not be narrated even with the most unbelievable descriptions. Even Su Xing's sophistry of burning an image of Buddha at the Sea of Bitterness had in the future unexpectedly evolved into a new branch of Buddhism, one that worshipped the destruction of idols, the extremist Buddhist sect, murdering Buddha Chan sect, of, meet Buddha, kill Buddha, meet ancestors, kill ancestors, meet Arhat, kill Arhat. This sort of Buddhism used Su Xing as propaganda to attract millions of Buddhists, one day becoming one of the new Buddha's 6 ancestors. However, this was another story. Blossoming the meditative mind lotus flower did not make Su Xing insufferably arrogant since then. On the contrary, the current Su Xing was currently arranging his next plans without rest. Hearing Chao Gai's advice, so long as he used a bit of brain, he could understand the hidden meaning of the 1,000 Buddha stars' words. To confront Maiden Mountain's imminent trials, his current strength was not enough. Chao Gai sees that Su Xing contracting us can sweep through these star duels. She deliberately said some stuff to scare Su Xing. Shi Yuan proudly said. Su Xing, don't mind her, there is completely no need to worry about these star duels. Yuan, you absolutely cannot treat this lightly. Wu Xinjie shook her head, warning, you must not forget the star duel's 4th phase. This is the final opportunity for all star generals, and it is also the chance for earthly star generals to be able to defeat heavenly stars. Although she felt that Su Xing could now be described as unrivaled under heaven, hearing Wu Xinjie's words, Shi Yuan felt this was logical. The 4th phase is called 3 volumes Heavenly Book, right? Su Xing thought. It seems that after this phase is finished, the final phase will begin. Yes, and for star generals who want to upgrade their star weapons to the extreme or comprehend their heaven-ranked techniques, this is their final chance. Wu Xinjie explained. When does 3 volumes Heavenly Book begin? Su Xing asked. When the crimson stars number more than 75% or the star duels begin their 4th year. Hearing these words, everyone lifted their heads to look at the crimson stars in the sky. The current crimson stars already were fewer than 100. The number of starfalls actually was surprisingly few. Previous star duels at this phase would have already had 30 crimson stars fall. However, following the star duel's increasing accumulation, the current star generals and star masters would become even more careful. This was not strange at all. Add on that in this generation there was a star master like Su Xing that went against established practice. This was unavoidable. There's still some left before 75%. If it's 4 years, then there are still 6 or 7 months left. Su Xing rubbed his chin, somewhat regretful. The 4th phase thus was a good chance to increase their strength. Young master. Lin Yingmei softly called all of a sudden. Following the majestic star's line of sight, everyone caught sight of a dragon-carving phoenix embroidery fragrant cart. Draped in previous jewels and blue satin, a graceful queen in a snow-white bodice sat on the cart. Her hand held a gold thread feather fan that looked at the far-off gloomy sky. Her eyes showed a rare distress. This scene made her feel pitiful. Chai Ling, you honestly have refinement, coming here to bask in the sun, even if you found the wrong place. Could it be you were waiting just for me? Su Xing saw Chai Ling and asked a question. Chai Ling's expression indeed seemed to have been waiting for a long time. She faintly shot Su Xing a glance. It seems thou hast settled thy affairs. Chai Ling retracted the distress in her eyes, showing faint charm in her smile. Noble star Chai Ling, is there anything on your mind? To meet you here, it cannot be said this is a coincidence. Wu Xinjie smiled. Of course this is not a coincidence. This palace has come to inform you of something. Chai Ling was stern. Is something the matter? Do you still remember meet star divine mathematician Jiang Jing? Chai Ling wrinkled her brow. Lin Yingmei faintly gasped, we were just about to go thank her. Although Jiang Jing's divine calculation did not help them a great deal, those divine calculation verses still gave them a great deal of enlightenment. Little whirlwind Chai Ling raised her eyebrows, hiding her red lips with the feather fan. Then it seems you will go save her, save her. What happened to Jiang Shui? Su Xing asked in alarm. Talk along the way. Chai Ling closed the fan. Su Xing urged the fire beacon chariot to rush for Ecliptic City. Along the way, Chai Ling summarized events that had occurred. As it turned out, not long after Su Xing departed, on the day Buddhism's Feast of All Souls ended, the Ecliptic Palace's Star Master suddenly captured the divine mathematician and her Star Master. The Ecliptic Palace apparently had long known that Jiang Jing settled at this place and was specially waiting for this chance. In the star duels, Star Masters facing other Star Masters was no special matter. Life or death between the two could not be interfered with by allies of either side. Moreover, the Meet Star Divine Mathematician Jiang Jing was ranked 53rd, without any martial force. Being killed was a destiny that could not be escaped from. This much was true, but as it turned out, this Ecliptic Palace had yet to deal the finishing blow. Rather, they were using Jiang Jing's Star Master as blackmail to coerce the Meet Star into participating in a Connecting Heaven project. Connecting Heaven project? Shi Yuan suddenly recalled that tall Connecting Heaven pagoda. Precisely. This pagoda is the Ecliptic Palace's sole array. Using Ecliptic City's geographical advantages in its construction, this pagoda is more than 1,000 zhang tall, as if it was capable of ascending to heaven. This is the reason it received the name Connecting Heaven Pagoda. What does this project do? How does it involve Jiang Jing? Wu Xiao wrinkled her brow. Is it because of the divine mathematician's innate skill divine calculation? Wu Xinjie guessed. Precisely because of this. Chai Ling affirmed Wu Xinjie's conjecture. Chai Ling possessed Liangshan's greatest information network. Investigating and understanding these sorts of matters was naturally as easy as blowing away dust. The so-called Connecting Heaven project was the Ecliptic Palace using the ecliptic stars constructed platforms. This pagoda was one large array, and the Ecliptic Palace had prepared to use the Connecting Heaven pagoda's power to draw the support of the crimson stars in the sky to use divine mathematician Jiang Jing's innate skill divine calculation for one sole purpose, to calculate the heavenly mystery of the star duels. The Ecliptic Palace's Star Master Huang Yan's Star General was ranked 73rd Latent Star White Flower Serpent Yang Ilyo. Her martial force did not count as high, but the Ecliptic Palace planned to make Jiang Jing calculate their future fate in the star duels, and by this forecast, thus rise to prominence in the star duels. To be able to foresee the future of the star duels, this indeed was an extremely great advantage. They could avoid many troubles and grasp many opportunities. Can Jiang Jing foresee these kinds of matters? Lin Yingmei felt disbelief. Originally she cannot, however, if she were to use the abilities of the Connecting Heaven Pagoda, divine mathematician Jiang Jing can even calculate the secret mystery of the star duels. Chai Ling said. No wonder. Wu Xinjie took in a deep breath. If it was her, if she could know her own heavenly mystery in the star duels, it was difficult to not be enticed. There was surprisingly something like this. But to have a divine calculation of all the heavenly mysteries of the star duels is not that easy. It will require tremendous willpower on the part of the divine mathematician, even so far as to sacrificing her will to do so. Pausing, Chai Ling showed a resentful expression. Originally, this palace did not want to stick her hands into the star duels, but that Ecliptic Palace tortured Jiang Jing's Star Master to force and provoke Jiang Shui's powers. It honestly makes this palace feel shame. Su Xing, elder sisters, let's go teach them a ruthless lesson. Shi Yuan rubbed her palms, indignantly saying. Using such despicable methods, this young lady truly regrets not tearing down this pagoda that day. The other girls were of the same mind. This palace knew that would not make her disappointed. Chai Ling spread a charming smile, casting a glance at Su Xing. Within it, Su Xing saw faint sadness. Huang Yan lifted his head to look at the dark clouds densely covering the sky. The strongly dark clouds blocked out the stars in the sky. There was a fierce gale, and the weather was about to rain. However, this was even better. Huang Yan nodded in satisfaction, the so-called debut and reveal at the same time. The heaven's crimson stars would be even more dazzling. At that time, the connecting heaven pagoda's power would be multiplied. There was a very big opportunity for the divine calculation of the star duel's heavenly mystery. Divine mathematician Jiang Jing. I am informing you, if when the time comes you dare to delay again, your servant will subject your star master to 1,000 cuts. Huang An sneered, disdainfully glancing at the middle-aged uncle gasping on the ground. His heart was very displeased. Truly, your servant does not understand whether or not your eyes are blind, Jiang Jing, to find such an incompetent star master. His star energy at this phase is surprisingly merely stardust. Truly, he split his sides from laughing. Jiang Jing already stood at the connecting heaven pagoda's highest platform, entering the array, her eyes closed and her lips silent. A figure suddenly approached. A man clad in a large yellow robe floated in the air without his feet stepping on any flying sword or flight artifact. His cultivation had astonishingly reached supervoid. Imperial Empress. Huang Yan's entourage of Ecliptic Palace disciples deferentially saluted upon seeing this person. The Ecliptic Imperial Empress was expressionless. He glanced at Jiang Jing and the seemingly dead Star Master collapsed on the ground. How is the progress of the Connecting Heaven project? Many thanks to Imperial Empress for its completion. In a short while, we can calculate this sect's destiny. Huang Yan smiled. The Ecliptic Imperial Empress nodded in satisfaction. His gaze then swept towards the horizon, his brows faintly uneasy. Imperial Empress, why do you feel unease? Yang Ilyo curiously asked. This palace has only just inspected. It seems someone has come to rescue Jiang Jing. The Ecliptic Imperial Empress tone sunk. The Ecliptic Palace originally was specialized in astrological divination. Otherwise, they would not use Jiang Jing's divine calculation, for it was not strange for them to calculate some things. Huang Yan laughed. The Ecliptic Palace has 4 great elders, 12 protectors, and Imperial Empress standing guard. Who is in such a hurry to be reincarnated? Your servant shall help him. The Ecliptic Imperial Empress could not calculate the reason why and could only rely on supervoid cultivation to vaguely sense something not too much to his liking. The Connecting Heaven plan concerned the revival of the Ecliptic Palace. For the sake of absolute success, the Ecliptic Palace had even ordered the Ecliptic Palace array to fully open. The 4 great elders and 12 protectors all stood guard in the array. After this was finished, only then did the Ecliptic Imperial Empress disappear after issuing several orders. Jiang Jing signed a contract because she wanted to save Uncle Hai. Su Xing felt even more surprised after hearing Chai Ling's explanation on the road. As far as divine mathematician Jiang Jing's contracted star master Ji Hai was concerned, Su Xing felt very curious. Upon asking, Chai Ling sought out the reason, which was nevertheless unprecedented. As it turned out, Ji Hai had once blocked a sword slash for Jiang Jing and died. In order to save his life, she signed a contract. A star general's contract was capable of reviving the dead, completely recovering to an original state, but there was a weakness. In the case the contract was lost, because the person had been restored by contract, they would immediately die. No wonder that big bro Ji Hai's cultivation is so low. He's completely oblivious to the star duels. Su Xing sighed. And that is why they have been targeted. Chai Ling stroked the 3-eyed wealth-inviting beast. 2. Speaking of this, they had already arrived in the sky above Ecliptic City. The heavy black clouds pressured the city with a stifling feeling. The streets were without a single figure. Even a graveyard was more lively than this. This practically was like a dead city. For the sake of allowing their Connecting Heaven project to carry out without issue, the Ecliptic Palace has ordered the city's people to not go outdoors. Otherwise, they will come execute the violator without question. Truly, they are savage. Chai Ling smiled. Humph. Su Xing caught sight of that spectacular Connecting Heaven pagoda of the Ecliptic Palace. He could faintly make out a magnificent, glimmering light. This palace cannot participate in the star duels. The things that come next are left to you all. Jiang Jing is a little sister that evokes pity and sympathy. Chai Ling leisurely descended. Su Xing and the group did not hesitate, immediately flying towards the Ecliptic Palace. The moment they entered the palace, all of a sudden, the fire beacon chariot violently wobbled. A bizarre scene of stars surrounded Su Xing and the girls. An array. Lord Husband, your servant will do for now. The pilgrim stepped out, slowly through the void, leaving the formation of her own accord. Brazen intruders, the Ecliptic Palace is at work. Regardless of who you are, immediately withdraw. The sound of rolling thunder entered his ears. My friend has been captured by you. I am now here to take her back. You still have a chance to let her go. Su Xing was calm as a dry well, his tone full of cold indifference. Unbridled. In the phantom, countless flying swords formed a sword array that attacked. Hidden inside the array, Su Xing's group could not see the user's traces. Hiding the head, showing the tail, 3, Xinjie shall force you all out. Wu Xinjie's hands formed the flower seal. Hua Shui scurried and transformed into a white shadow that entered Wu Xinjie's body. Following Wu Xinjie's smile that bewitched all things, 9 tails unfurled, a gurgling sound in the air. Chains of black gold coiled around, like vines along a wall, blocking all the flying swords. This is, before the shocked voices even ended, with a boom, the array immediately vanished. More than 30 Ecliptic Palace cultivators had surrounded Su Xing from all directions, their faces aghast. Wu Xinjie's finger kissed her raging red lips. The 8 gates' black gold chain simultaneously unraveled, forming a complex galaxy that did not allow anyone to approach. Careful! The protectors and elders shouted one after another. Artifacts, magic weapons, amulets and flying swords activated one after another. Multicolored lights wildly fell on the 8 gates' black gold chain, booming with an enormous quake, alleviating the 8 gates' black gold chain's pressure. Wind rolls the clouds. Gongsun Huang floated, leaving Su Xing's shoulder, suspended in the air. She waved her bright sword. Multicolored light glowed, and a cool breeze circulated, sharper than those blades. Su Xing called forth his flying swords that unstoppably conquered all obstacles in his way, covering the skies and earth as he attacked a yellow-shirt Confucian. The yellow-shirt Confucian raised a gong and drum magic weapon. The gong and drum suddenly expanded several times in size, opening and closing, moving to cover Lin Yingmei. Lin Yingmei's figure suddenly disappeared inside the magic weapon. Her attack quietly began. Waves of snow pointing at the sky obscured the yellow-shirt Confucian's entire line of sight. A bone-chilling wind whistled, flustering him even more. Under Lin Yingmei's completely ice-cold aggression, the yellow-shirt Confucian immediately was struck with terror. A star general. The yellow-shirt Confucian recalled the magic weapon. The gong and drum suddenly covered him, tightly sealing shut. In order to resist this obscuring imposing air, he could only use this strategy. The yellow-shirt Confucian was very clear that if he faced a legendary fiend star, close quarters was inevitable death. However, he was also very self-confident. Although he did not know what weapon that spear hidden in wind was, he was but supercluster late stage. What did one star general count for? However, Lin Yingmei's speed really was too fast. The yellow-shirt Confucian had no chance of winning at all. He could only use the magic weapon and star energy to give himself adequate defense, let alone that this was only the spear tip. Even if this was a critical magic weapon, the yellow-shirt Confucian was certain he could withstand it. It was just that he temporarily lost his eyes and ears. Just as he was concocting this perfect plan, he suddenly heard an agitated wind. A powerful pressure passed through the magic weapon and constricted his lungs. What was going on? Before the yellow-shirt Confucian could understand, he suddenly felt a terrifying power like a tidal wave roll across his whole body. That kind of frightening pressure was unprecedented in violence, like a mountain. Not good. The yellow-shirt Confucian screamed. The gong and drum shattered with a bang, and a green lotus mountain appeared on his body. Su Xing's palms parted. This was the prehistoric spirit treasure Green Lotus Peak. The yellow-shirt Confucian vomited blood, not having foreseen Su Xing would suddenly take action. He hastily ordered back his flying swords for protection, but the current him's sluggish action was undoubtedly seeking his own doom from the perspective of the majestic star. The Arctic star serpent spear's tip fully appeared. A bolt of cold light flit by. When that terrifying spear tip ripped apart the yellow-shirt Confucian's body, it made him open his eyes wide in astonishment. Bang! Lin Wangmai again flicked the spear. The Arctic star serpent spear swung and pierced into his body. Allowing the majestic star to draw so close, at this time, even the Daluo Golden Immortal was powerless to return to heaven. Impossible. Feeling the shape of the spear that was stabbed into his organs, that ice-cold strength made the yellow-shirt Confucian realize something. But these already could not become his final words. Thereupon, the supercluster late-stage cultivator was directly and efficiently turned to scattered smoke and ash. Master, you go quickly save Jiang Jing. Leave this place to us. Yan Yizhen said at this time, her fists dancing. An astral wind blew, knocking aside 300 to 400 attacking flying swords. For Elder's revenge. A cultivator angrily shouted, controlling 100 fire-red slender swords. A red airflow whirled in the air, and the surrounding rolled with cyclones. These firelights were dazzling, unexpectedly with a sort of courage. Collecting on his sword, the red light flashed, reflecting off the man's ice-cold face like a ghost. Fire Star Sword Array. Su Xing nearly laughed. His opponent's divine intent controlled the flying swords, with a vaguely visible thunderfire light on those slim swords. The next instant, these flying swords already rushed at high speed towards Su Xing. The speed actually was fast, and all of the flying swords became flashing bolts of firelight, unexpectedly piercing through Wu Xinjia's 8 gates black gold chain. The entire atmosphere pervaded with the firelight, bringing mirage after mirage. Even the surrounding whirlwind seemed to synchronize, letting out an intense whistle. Go! Heaven tearing and Langia crisscrossed into 2 hurricanes that soared off the earth. Su Xing's cultivation had now reached supercluster stage, and his star energy could be said to be unexcelled. Combined with an immemorial sword chant, this fire star sword array was no opponent at all. Just at this moment, Yan Yizhen simultaneously vanished. As if she could straddle this space, she instantly drew across this distance. Even her shadow was unseen when she already arrived below her opponent's nose, her movements completely needless of a mention of speed. Yan Yizhen's arms sunk, and her punch attacked. Her opponent hastily activated a thunderfire ability, but before it could fly onto Yan Yizhen's skin, it was blasted apart by a yin-yang qi. An enormous power transmitted through. The cultivator nearly lost consciousness from this. Although he temporarily persisted, he nevertheless lost at the first hand. Yan Yizhen's body technique severely followed, one punch tightly followed another, as if she was light as a feather yet heavy as Mount Tai. All of the attacks she used arrived before the one before ended, forcing her opponent into only a difficult defense. The skillful star was known as the number 1 in boxing, one punch directly blowing apart his star energy defense. The man went pale with fright. Seeing that star energy covering his clothes now shredded apart, he had even thought to use an escape technique to flee, but he suddenly found his arms and legs had been trapped by a flow of yin and yang. He completely was unable to escape. Immediately afterwards, the force of the final punch passed through his chest and pierced into his organs. Flesh erupted out his back. This supercluster ancestor then also lost all semblances of life, stepping into the trailing dust. How is this possible? Two supercluster ancestors being instantly destroyed made the rest of the Ecliptic Palace cultivators fall into fear. At this time, only then did they realize. Star Generals, they are all Star Generals, still you do not roll. Lin Yingmei coldly shouted, sweeping her spear. Several dozen flying swords were ripped apart. The Ecliptic Palace cultivators were frightened stiff and no longer stopped. Immediately, they scattered like birds and beasts. Moreover, Wuxiu possessed the pilgrim's array, arriving under the connecting heaven pagoda like a hot knife through butter. Along the pilgrim's path, blood gathered into a river. The last one of the Ecliptic Palace's 4 great elder had died in the line of duty, the course of events proceeding in no more than the blink of an eye. Wuxiu lifted her head to look at the connecting heaven pagoda. This pagoda was covered with a flying tool forbid dance. Without means of flight, Wuxiu took a great stride, leaping 100 meters to swiftly run towards the top of the tower. Along the way, the cultivators that thwarted her only saw a cool and elegant figure flash by, and then they would never see anything thereafter. What is happening? Huang Yan looked from atop the pagoda at the faraway activity with concern, his heart ill at ease. He saw the Ecliptic Palace disciples currently fleeing in all directions. That flock of traitors! Huang Yan cursed. Young master, the intruder has ill intentions. Yang Yilio warned. With the Imperial Empress here, there is no need to worry. Huang Yan turned his head towards Jiang Jing and showed a malevolent expression. Divine mathematician Jiang Jing, quickly calculate for your servant the heavenly mystery. There is not much time left to give you. The dark clouds in the sky rolled, a thunderclap rumbling. Huang Yan was somewhat unable to cope too much. He grabbed Ji Hai by the cranium and laughed like a demon. It does not matter what method you must use, immediately calculate for your servant the heavenly mystery. Otherwise, I will make you see how your servant crushes his skull. Ji Hai gasped for breath, powerlessly resisting, his lips flapping, faintly spitting out the 3 words, I'm so sorry. Jiang Jing wept terribly, standing up with difficulty, promptly using her star magic. The flow of light was merely extremely dim. Should have done this sooner. Huang Yan sneered. An abrupt pain came from his neck. Huang Yan's smile froze. Suddenly, he felt pain in his chest. Turning his head to look, that ordinary middle-aged man had surprisingly rallied, and with strength that came from who knows where, bit Huang Yan furiously. His teeth that were like broken-down machinery unexpectedly bit open Huang Yan's throat. His violent eyes brimming with a deep chill that made Huang Yan feel alarm. Uncle Hai. Jiang Jing was stunned. Yang Yilio's heart hurt. When her star master sustained injury, she also felt waves of pain. However, Huang Yan was a star cultivator, after all. He promptly circulated star energy for protection. Ji Hai's teeth immediately completely shattered. Huang Yan furiously pierced a palm through Ji Hai's heart, ripping it out. Bastard, 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 you petty peon, you dare harm me. The acute pain drove Huang Yan mad. He recklessly used his star energy. Ji Hai was abused like a dilapidated puppet. Young master, staunch your wounds. Yang Yilio panted. If you love together so much, then die together. Huang Yan returned to his senses, throwing Ji Hai's body before Jiang Jing. Uncle Hai. Jiang Jing dragged herself over with deep sorrow. Ji Hai panted, his expression hazy. Although he was already undoubtedly dying, even if the divine physician was powerless to bring him back, his eyes still were very resolute. Shui Shui, I am still your star master. Uncle Hai, I have hurt you. Jiang Shui sobbed uncontrollably. Ji Hai stroked her head, showing a smile, as if he wanted to comfort her. Words were upon his lips. In the end, he was unable to utter them. That hand that had been caressing Jiang Shuai fell to the ground. No, Jiang Jing grievously wept. Humph, god damn it. Huang Yan felt his neck that had nearly been bit apart. The pain made his consciousness confused. Suddenly, a shadow descended. A beauty in a black cloak landed on the connecting heaven pagoda. Her hand held a double-ended sword, and her face was like cold frost. Wu Song. Elio, quickly run. Huang Yan obstructed Wu Xiao's pace, but as if he was a step too late, she easily crossed this distance. The latent star white flower serpent Yang Ilio's hand gripped the justified bloodshed white python spear and maintained an invulnerable defensive stance. But that was merely something that happened in an instant. Wu Xiao had already arrived behind them. Yang Ilio was unable to see clearly how it was done. Then, she heard her master collapse on the ground, dead, and then she herself thereupon became bubbles. 5. Please forgive me, Yang Ilio only left behind 3 words for the hysterically grieving Jiang Shuai. In the sky, a star dimmed and star fell. Just as Wu Xiao was about to speak, suddenly, a powerful pressure pressed towards Jiang Shuai. The girl whose heart was like dead ash hugged Ji Hai's corpse without so much as caring. Wu Xiao's sword swung, deflecting the opponent. Yener, the ecliptic imperial empress saw Huang Yan's corpse. He was briefly expressionless, his hand trembling. Why would you do such a thing? Wu Xiao coldly said. Harm Star, I will have you pay with your life. The ecliptic imperial empress shouted. The powerful spiritual power of the supervoid cultivator pressured her directly. As far as a star general was concerned, a cultivator's divine intent was far from reaching a menacing level. However, Wu Xiao had wasted considerably great amounts of strength in the Buddha kingdom and had yet to recover. Now, encountering a supervoid cultivator again was inevitably exhausting. The ecliptic imperial empress face wore an angry and cold detachment. In the air, his hands endlessly formed hand seals. More than 1,000 flying swords appeared in the void. Compared to the Buddha Kingdom's supervoid cultivators, the Azure Dragon Territory's supervoid cultivators were of might that reached unknown heights because they had flying sword abilities. Even though the powers of Buddha Kingdom's cultivators were formidable, upon encountering a star general, without flying swords to check against a star general's close quarters, confronting the star generals unparalleled in close combat was basically like fish on the chopping board. An intense yellow light radiated. The heavens seemed to become a galaxy. Those flying swords seemed to be embedded amongst the stars, their light even completely erasing the dark clouds. In that intense light, the ecliptic imperial empress' hands pointed. For the sake of guarding against the unexpected, a yellow long sword magic weapon appeared in his hand. This sword released multicolored light circulating with a galaxy. Go! Following the ecliptic imperial empress' shout, the flying swords simultaneously slashed at Wu Xiao, carrying terrifying might. Wu Xiao clearly felt the pressure in her surroundings gradually magnify. A powerful pressure rushed at her without pause, and even her star energy already completely focused into defense was unable to guard against it. She could even already hear her body's bones and hair creak in protest. Wu Xiao curled a disdainful sneer. Suddenly, she shouted and leapt high. The descending flying swords promptly turned to follow the traces of Wu Xiao's movements. The white and black unicorn tiger appeared, and Wu Xiao straddled it. Rushing in one smooth motion, with a star beast behind her, her speed was even more swift. The ecliptic imperial empress was unable to track Wu Xiao's trail. Pouncing straight into that approaching stifling pressure, the harm star neatly appeared right in front of him. Hey! Wu Xiao slashed at his neck without the slightest hesitation. This palace's 7 stars birth sword is not any one bit inferior to your star weapons. The ecliptic imperial empress raised the heavenly spirit astral treasure 7 stars birth sword to go block. It seemed he spent much time refining this astral treasure, blocking the noble frost demonic lotus on the first wave. Then, the ecliptic imperial empress raised his hand. The 7 stars on the 7 stars birth sword opened, and countless rivers of stars intersected into a net shape, twisting towards her. Wu Xiao actually did not anticipate he would react so quickly. Facing the airtight galaxy twisting at her, she was composed. Noble frost demonic lotus slashed left and right, pitch black flecked with snow, demonic lotuses in bloom, blocking everything. 3-star destined weapon. The ecliptic Imperial Empress furiously asked, Harm-star Pilgrim Wusong, what sort of hero are you to Liangshan? Why must you interfere in the star duels matters of our ecliptic palace? Jiang Jing is your servant's friend. Wu Xiao coldly answered. Who are you kidding, die. Damn it. Even if you are the renowned Pilgrim Wusong, you will die today. Today, this palace will become the first cultivator in Liangshan to slay the Harm Star. The ecliptic Imperial Empress was very enraged, calling forth flying swords. The white and black unicorn tiger flashed by, vanishing from where it was. The place it had been standing was skewered by flying swords. Harm Star, where can you run to? The ecliptic Imperial Empress saw that he had taken the advantage and smiled. Your rear. Behind him was a tiger hiss. The ecliptic Imperial Empress was stunned. Wu Xiao's words had landed, and the noble frost demonic lotus slashed the ecliptic Imperial Empress back. The ecliptic Imperial Empress then discovered that being in the sky was not an advantage at all. That white and black unicorn tiger's speed in the air was far faster than his levitation, but if it was only this was far from enough to injure him. The ecliptic Imperial Empress' divine intent moved. The star energy in his whole body instantly changed, and his entire person seemingly looked completely new. A phantom shifted. The ecliptic Imperial Empress turned around and used the 7 stars birth sword in his hand to directly block Wu Xiao's fast as lightning slash. Since you dared to get close, this palace shall have you star generals taste the might of this palace's close quarters ability. 6. The omnipresent flying swords shot out from around him. Once again, what made the ecliptic Imperial Empress surprised was that when the flying swords drew near Wu Xiao, the white and black unicorn tiger suddenly disappeared. Damn it, so fast. The ecliptic Imperial Empress was shocked, gnashing his teeth. Wu Xiao appeared from another flank, her expression somewhat exhausted. The white and black unicorn tiger also showed slowness. Continuously battling with supervoid level cultivators made the Harm Star feel unprecedented fatigue, and the white and black unicorn tiger had not yet recovered in her star world, far from its peak. Seeing the white and black unicorn tiger was tired, Wu Xiao stroked it. Little white, go back first. The white and black unicorn tiger growled, unwilling. Wu Xiao shook her head. Under her divine intent, the white and black unicorn tiger finally disappeared. What, it seems that the renowned Harm Star is merely so. Are you trembling under this palace's sword? How about if you are willing to become this palace's star general? This palace will help you complete this generation's star duels. Seeing your star weapon is currently only 3-star, you must have met with many setbacks. The ecliptic Imperial Empress embellished the setbacks. Wu Xiao disdainfully smiled. The two already were suspended several hundred meters in the sky. One was suspended with the inherent power of the incomparable cultivation of supervoid, and the other relied on the ability to briefly levitate. The boundless ecliptic city offered its panoramic view, as if it had already become a still landscape. The black clouds and thunder rolls in the sky seemed to be faraway echoes, and the faraway Su Xing's group rushed over towards this place. On this elevated battlefield removed from the world, their ears could only hear their own heartbeats and the sound of the wind. Then this palace shall presume Maiden Mountain will not take offense. Seeing the strength Wu Xiao showed in their brief exchanges, the ecliptic Imperial Empress showed his arrogance. How about it? Are these your last words? Wu Xiao said. Ignoring his opponent's provocations, the ecliptic Imperial Empress merely shrugged his shoulders, somewhat arrogantly stroking his chin. Harm Star, it seems you are very exhausted, yet you unexpectedly still wish to challenge me, a supervoid cultivator. Witness the power of a supervoid stage. The man's words had just fallen when a flash of light shot out from his body, flowing at great speed towards its target in the sky. Facing the flying swords that were scuttling straight over, Wuxiu did not have any intentions at all to dodge. She even did not have plans to symbolically assume a defensive stance. Were these flying swords not too subpar? The ecliptic Imperial Empress had been immersed in the star duels for many years, and he comprehended that he could use Jiang Jing's divine calculation ability to bring about the unprecedented connecting heaven pagoda. Naturally, with his superb aspects, he very clearly understood the unbelievable levels of the star generals. So he long already had countermeasures. That flash was closely followed by more flashes of several hundred flying swords in assault. The ecliptic Imperial Empress repeatedly casted. Immediately, it was like there was a chemical reaction. The seemingly ordinary flying sword attack instantly was fierce as a tidal wave. In the next instant, a shadow suddenly fell even more quickly from the sky, shooting like a meteor directly at the relaxed Wuxiu. The sky was thoroughly covered, and the sound of thunder was also masked. The instant the two brushed past each other, 3 bolts of purple and gold electricity slashed forth, inciting a dazzling light in the sky. Is this all? Wuxiu's sword severed all of the constraints. Her star energy revolted this instant. Wuxiu shouted, slashing at the air with the noble frost demonic lotus. The incorporeal wind instantly swirled, and the air seemed to become lakewater. Following this slash, her murderous aura bubbled forth with waves. The sky let out a mournful boom, more shocking than a thunderclap. Wuxiu did not hold back. The black demonic lotus opened in the sky, and her snowy, ice-cold baleful aura swarmed. The next instant, following her slashing movement, the killing intent on the sword tip violently shot out, directly pouncing towards the ecliptic Imperial Empress in the sky. This time, the ecliptic Imperial Empress hastily dodged. Even if his cultivation was any more superb, he did not want to needlessly waste his power, let alone that others were rushing over. The ecliptic Imperial Empress was furious, only wanting to settle the harm star before the other opponents rushed over. Flying swords fell by numbers too many to count. Wuxiu left afterimage after afterimage. Damn it, how is she so fast? The ecliptic Imperial Empress again used a magic weapon to chase. But everything was stopped by Wuxiu's double-ended sword. The power of the two seemed to spread across the entire ecliptic city. Both of them traded blows at high speeds in close quarters. Wuxiu's attacks were extremely fast. This sort of speed already left the ecliptic Imperial Empress with no choice but to call the flying swords to go obstruct her. Then, he used the Astral Treasure 7 Stars Birth Sword to oppose with full power. At the very least, before he could be dispatched by Wuxiu's assault, he needed to persevere. As well, Wuxiu gradually showed a weary expression. This made the ecliptic Imperial Empress glimpse hope. Let this palace see for just how long you can persist. The ecliptic Imperial Empress raised the 7-star birth sword in his hand. He waved the astral treasure several times. The scorching sword light folded layer upon layer. Confronting directly such a mountain-toppling attack, Wuxiu still was not flustered at all. Passing directly through center of the murderous aura, the firelight rippled with a melodious rhythm, making the darkness above the ecliptic palace show a different sort of beauty. Moreover, Shaqing and the others just happened to rush for the connecting heaven pagoda. Along the way, they still met with groups of ecliptic palace cultivators obstructing them. These cultivators saw that their Imperial Empress had even taken action. How could they dare flee? One after another fully used their flying swords and other powers. Even if their flying swords were weak, if several hundred people were to use them together at that scale, indeed, they could be world-shaking. Ecliptic Array 7. Countless flying swords twisted around, circling with light. An incomparable annoyance. The last supercluster ancestor furiously yelled, only directing all the disciples to face Shaqing. Under his direction, the ecliptic palace was surprisingly formidable. As expected, facing an entire great sect alone was somewhat thorny, let alone that the ecliptic palace cultivated celestial ecliptic star magic, arrays, and flying swords that were more powerful than those of an ordinary gangs. Otherwise, how could they have dared to call themselves palace? A supercluster cultivator dares to be unbridled. That supercluster ancestor angrily shouted. His words were just spoken when his eyes were dazzled. So fast. Even this supercluster ancestor was already completely on guard, yet his reaction merely glimpsed the man flash in front of his eyes as a sharp, silvery light slashed from the side. Completely omitting the process of accelerating, this man completed an instant change in speed right before his eyes. A fleeting moment later, the man already was stuck close to his side, a palm bringing a swift and severe whistle as it swept towards his head. Not good. The supercluster ancestor went pale. Despite his already extreme precautions, he completely did not expect that the speed of this realm's supercluster early-stage cultivator could be quick to this degree. Let alone that this place was situated inside the perimeter of the connecting heaven pagoda. That man ought not be able to use flying swords, but those movements were practically faster than flying. Levitation? Could he be supervoid stage? A shocking thought flashed through his mind, but already, there was no time to ponder any further. The supercluster ancestor blocked. The attack Shaqing executed could not be described in the same way. Before his right palm's sweep finished, his left fist already followed up. The wind pressure cut at the face and skull, the power visible, pressuring the supercluster ancestor into only being able to dodge again. Circling around, Shaqing's right fist nevertheless followed up once again, the two fists alternately sweeping like this. Flipping up and down, loop upon loop, completely without pause. The person himself practically was swift to the extreme, his powerful attack continuing without end. The pressured supercluster ancestor could only endlessly evade, relying on star energy for protection. Battling up to now, the key moment had unexpectedly vanished completely. Even defense was nearly impossible to form. He had been completely suppressed by the opponent's terrifying boxing technique. The supercluster ancestor's powers unexpectedly were completely unable to be demonstrated. On his ninth evasion, he finally paused and was immediately punched in the chest by his opponent. Enormous strength suddenly exploded. The supercluster ancestor felt a stifling feeling cram his lungs. His star energy defenses abruptly opened a crack, and then he was launched away by Shaqing's punch, like a cannonball, flying more than one zhang away. Do not be afraid, these people are merely so. The supercluster ancestor was just about to rally everyone when he suddenly saw a cold spear immediately stab at him. Without any response, his hands and feet were frozen solid. This thrust passed through his chest, and thus he was killed by Lin Yingmei's spear. This is bad. Shaqing lifted his head to look at the crisis at the top of the connecting heaven pagoda, disregarding everything else to fly up. Damned harm star, I will just kill your friend. The ecliptic imperial empress' heart gave rise to fear. Finally, he gave up killing Wuxiu, turning instead to aim his attack at the puppet-like Jiang Jing. The connecting heaven plan was an utter failure, but he could not give an advantage to other people. The supervoid cultivator's flying sword was practically a swiftly flowing heavenly river. Wuxiu's expression changed. Even if she wanted to block this, she was unable to. 5 Dragons Lantern. Suddenly, at this moment, a shadow flew to the pagoda's top. Shaqing rushed up, drenched in blood, the 5 Dragons Lantern supported in his palm. Without any hesitation, he used this prehistoric spirit treasure. The Bodhi lampwick ignited, and light rays flashed. One golden dragon of the 5 Dragons Lantern soared into the sky, breaking free of the lantern's housing. That golden dragon's build was gigantic, 1,000 meters in length, its imposing aura gushing, like a divine dragon. It completely rolled and blew away the dark clouds. All the flying swords were blocked by this divine dragon. When the ecliptic imperial empress saw this, his expression greatly changed. He was about to use another ability when Shaqing arrived in a single step. The 5 Dragons Lantern's second golden divine dragon also flew out. The 2 divine dragons seemingly wrapped around the heavens. Buddhist light extended across 10,000 zhang, making Jiang Jing unable to help but blink. Ah! The ecliptic imperial empress screamed, waving the 7 stars birth sword. But the 5 Dragons Lantern's third, fourth and fifth divine dragons successively flew out, coiling in the skies. Needless to say, they instantly engulfed the ecliptic imperial empress. No matter how this supervoid cultivator struggled, in the end, he was ground entirely to dust under the rolling of the 5 dragons. The grand supervoid cultivator thus died like this. Even Su Xing was surprised. However, this was not the time to be thinking. Su Xing hastily glanced at Jiang Jing, but the scene he saw in front immediately made him heave a sigh. When the ecliptic imperial empress died, the other ecliptic palace disciples scattered everywhere in terror. Lin Yingmei and the others did not have any interest in pursuit. They then came to the top of the connecting heaven pagoda. The scene before them was silent. Jiang Jing hugged Ji Hai's corpse, her eyes showing endless tenderness and sorrow. Tears smudged her clothes, without her previous spiritual power to be seen at all. Su Xing opened his mouth to say something, yet he did not know what to say. A boom. Thunder rolled and resonated. A downpour finally fell, striking everyone, washing away the blood covering the ground. The rain and mist were pervasive, and Su Xing wanted to step forward to shield Jiang Shui from the rain. The girls set down Ji Hai's corpse. At this time, she rose, her eyes giving Su Xing a grateful smile. Thanks. That smile was very faint, yet it made Su Xing's heart somewhat hurt. The divine mathematician Jiang Shui's star crest flickered. The connecting heaven pagoda resonated, unleashing bright light. They saw that all of the star general stars in the sky were even more radiant than ever. Jiang Shui raised her head and immersed herself in the light. The corner of the girl's skirt fluttered in the storm. Jiang Shui tossed her neck. Her hair danced, and a dazzling light flowed around divine mathematician Jiang Jing's body. The 5 elements sentencing mental calculation emerged. The beads of light followed the girl in dance and began changing in the rain. In the rain, they heard sorrowful sobs. Those pinpricks of light ceaselessly changed and concentrated. Slowly, some characters appeared. The Qilin snow shines red, white wave raises golden wind, bright moon's inviting cup intoxicates a night. 8. The broken arrow beauty plays the Kongho. The sound is faint for a millennium. Without her, your lifetime is nothing but a dream of golden millet. 9. The characters of light gathered together. As if they were engraved into his mind, there was a sort of epiphanic light. Nevertheless, Su Xing only felt grief. Far away, 2 girls looked on. Chai Ling, is this the answer you wanted? Kong Ho turned her gaze and mercilessly asked. The arrogant queen lowered her head, full of guilt and pain. Quiet. The torrential rain struck upon Chai Ling's body. Queen Noble Star allowed the rain to strike and soak her whole body. The broken arrow beauty plays the Kongho. An elder sister has appeared in this Buddhist verse. Could it be saying that Sister Kongho has a connection with Su Xing? Chai Ling raised her head, her pupils wet. She again recomposed her mind, once again putting all her thoughts on divine mathematician Jiang Jing's final heavenly mystery. In the sky, the stars of star maidens resonated and flickered with their grief. The heavenly mystery written down using the connecting heaven pagoda and the last strands of her willpower, bringing her own divine calculation to the limit. In addition, this prophecy for Su Xing's star duels was not only a brief glimpse into his immediate destiny, but it was even more so the mystery of the start duels. Without her, your lifetime is nothing but a dream of golden millet. Kong Ho stroked her chin and muttered to herself. Who knows? In the rain, Kong Ho's somewhat spiritless muttering resounded. Noble star little whirlwind Chai Jin, why do you so painstakingly amass understanding of the mystery of the star duels? The heavy downpour was split open along a burning question. Chai Ling and Kong Ho shot glances at one another, not surprised at all. A mighty woman garbed in gold walked out from within the rain. The heavy rain that fell on her body became nothingness. Chao Gai, huh? Kong Ho's lazy and somewhat sad expression suddenly radiated with energy. Accompanying her languid tone, Kong Ho's figure suddenly moved. The rain was split open, her murderous aura allowing for no conversation. Even the Thousand Buddha star who was unexcelled in Liangshan continent showed rare caution at Kongho's provocation. Chao Gai's palm opened, and a formless killing intent flowed past her fingers. Must you take action now? Sister Kongho, do not be impulsive. Chai Ling spoke out to stop her. Kongho softly snorted. The killing intent in her fingers withdrew. Chao Gai, should Maiden Mountain act in these star duels, your servant will not sit idly by. Hearing this threat, Chao Gai did not bat an eyelid, yet her expression was even somewhat pleased. It seems this one's worries were unneeded. Chao Gai's gaze once again returned to Chai Ling's body, and she said, Noble star little whirlwind Chai Ling. This one advises thou to stop before going too far. If you truly wish to comprehend the mystery of the star duels, then feel for yourself the cruelty of the star duels. Staying uninvolved is merely the conduct of a coward, and to sacrifice a little sister to obtain the divine calculation, this not the style of the Queen Noble Star. Little whirlwind Chai Ling's expression was not good at all. This palace has no need for thee to come lecture. Chao Gai clearly only wanted to give this warning to Chai Ling. As for how she would reply, Chao Gai did not care. Profoundly glancing at them, do your best. Thousand Buddha star took a step backwards, disappearing into nothingness. As if nothing had ever happened. Your servant actually feels that what Chao Gai said is very correct, Chai Ling. Kong Ho then said. To comprehend and stay outside the star duels is not a bad plan from personal experience. Is that man not your chance, Chai Ling? A chance is also his chance. This palace is not so unbearable. Kong Ho teased her with a smile, a woman who waits for her chance is bound to be lonely. Chai Ling exerted star energy to sweep aside the rainwater, covering her lips with the feather fan, concealing her inner fluster. Do not speak about this for now. Elder sister must follow this palace to go watch him together. After all, this heavenly mystery has manifested elder sister's name. Not going. Your servant wants to go back and sleep. This sort of sad scene is better left to you, Chai Ling. Kong Ho yawned, her face disappointed. Chai Ling forced a smile. The rain stopped. Jiang Shui looked back and smiled, soundlessly thanking him. Su Xing wanted to step forward and say something, but seeing the girl's expression that was sadder than a withered heart, his voice was choked in his throat. Jiang Shui looked up at the stars, her body beginning to become hazy, like a mist. Following the sunlight, she ultimately faded away, leaving behind only a final, unforgettable image of grief. The Meet Star's crimson star fell into Su Xing's heart. Meet Star divine mathematician Jiang Shui's last bit of star energy and the heavenly mystery were passed on to Su Xing. Su Xing sighed, putting his hands together. The golden lotus blossomed in the air, raining down a solemn Buddhist light that sprinkled upon the ecliptic palace's rivers of blood. Everyone was silent. At the top of Yellow Gate Mountain, they erected a burial mound. Su Xing opened his mouth and spat out essence blood. The essence blood turned into a droplet that finally revealed itself to be shining pearls. These pearls stacked together like an abacus, and following Su Xing's divine intent control, the pearls spiraled around the burial mound, immediately drilling into the grave. All of the girls mourned. Placing the 5 elements sentencing mental calculation into Uncle Hai's tomb could be considered resolving Meet Star divine mathematician Jiang Shui's final wish. Sorting out their grief, Su Xing and the girls glanced at each other. Jiang Shui's death gave Su Xing a great shock and produced in him a sort of deep urge to protect them. Su Xing was very clear that now already was not the time to be on a scenic tour. Chao Gai's advice was full of warning, and the top priority now was to quickly increase their strength. Elder sister Xinjie, did you decipher Jiang Shui's divine calculation? Shi Yuan asked. Wu Xinjie frowned. The Qilin's snow shines red. White wave raises golden wind. Bright moon's inviting cup intoxicates a night. The broken arrow beauty plays the Kongho. The sound is faint for a millennium. Without her, your lifetime is nothing but a dream of golden millet. Are these the sisters young master will sign a contract with in the future? Lin Yingmei raised her eyebrows. Even if it is not, this could be related. Wu Xinjie was not too certain. In actuality, Jiang Shueishui sacrificing her life to use divine calculation already was close to calculating the general idea of Su Xing's future in the star duels, but within were many variables that had not yet come. However, what most made knowledge star resourceful star take note was not these but the very last phrase. Without her, your lifetime is nothing but a dream of golden millet. This sounds like a big bummer. Shi Yuan said. The sound is faint for a millennium referring to Xiao? If we don't have her, it's like we're missing something. Su Xing concentrated expectantly on Wu Xiao. The latter's cheeks were slightly red. How could she not know what Su Xing was thinking of? The harm star feigned ignorance. Let us worry about the divine calculation later. We already do not have too much time. We ought to finish arranging our affairs. The girls wanted to say something but hesitated, glancing at each other. Clearly, they had a plan. Helping you upgrade your star weapons is the quickest way to increasing your strength. Su Xing had also given this thought. Now, the sole way to contend against Maiden Mountain was this. Wrong, the top priority is to help young lord increase his power by forging the immemorial flying swords. Wu Xinjie shook her head. Su Xing was taken aback. Although Master has blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower, Maiden Mountain will come face us in the future. The first thing done will be to target Master. Yan Yizhen explained. Su Xing also had thought of this, but more than a month of time honestly was too desperate a situation. 2. This was the first time Su Xing felt that time truly was not enough. But if, young lord, are you willing to believe in us? Wu Xinjie smiled. This question was very unneeded. Actually, Xinjie has already thought of the next arrangements. 1 month's time ought to be able to deal with Maiden Mountain. Su Xing listened with respectful attention. Wu Xinjie's plan in actuality was very simple. First of all, to upgrade star weapons need not be mentioned. The higher the number of stars, the stronger the star weapon. This was the most direct way to increase their power. Previously, because of the delay with Su Xing's meditative mind lotus flower and evil smiting hall, their star weapons did not make any progress. However, now that Chao Gai did not have any calamities, the beauties had no need to worry about Su Xing further. The important point of upgrading star weapons naturally was that they already had majestic star Lin Yingmei's 5-star materials. So long as they could break through the 4-star threshold, confronting Maiden Mountain had even greater chance of success. Secondly was Su Xing's Earth Element Sword of the Heavenly Spirit Earthly Fiend 5 Elements Sword. The Black Turtle Territory was the place the Star Duel's 4th phase, 3-volume Heavenly Book, would begin. The Black Turtle Sea of the Black Turtle Territory just so happened to have the Gen Wu Divine Iron, 3, Su Xing's 5 Elements Sword required. He had to go to the Black Turtle Territory. Afterwards, Efficacious Star Divine Physician and Suan and Earthly Solitary Star Gold Coin Spotted Leopard Tang Lianxin would stay behind and guard the Immortal's abode, presiding over logistics. One was in charge of upgrading their equipment, and the other refining medicine. This way, the chances of victory would be even higher. Of course, finally, Number 1 in Magic Energy Leisure Star Dragon in the Clouds Gongsun Huang Star Beast also cannot be settled for. Wu Xinjie's thinking was the exact same as Su Xing's, but the reason why Su Xing was so hesitant was because this plan had one aspect he was incapable of making a firm resolution. This was that they had to separate. To finish these within 1 month, going separate ways was unavoidable. Xinjie, Yingmei, Xiao, and Yuaner are in charge of seeking materials for star weapons. Young lord, go help little Huang capture her star beast, then go to the Black Turtle Territory. With little E protecting young lord, there will be no problems. And Suan and little sister Lianxin shall remain in the Immortal's abode. Young lord, how do you feel about these arrangements? Wu Xinjie smiled. After 1 month, we will assemble once more in the Immortal's abode. Su Xing was reluctant to part with them, but he knew that now was not the time to be tangled up. Thus, he asked them, "How do you feel? Although we are reluctant to part with Shaqing, it's only 1 month. That'll pass by really quick." Shi Yuan was also hesitant, but there was no helping it. Shaqing had contracted 8 star generals. Naturally, he could not possibly follow the previous experience of star duels. Just upgrading the star weapons of 8 star generals was sinking energy into a bottomless pit. Now, the best way was to separate. They would thoroughly magnify the advantage of 8 star generals. "Alright, we can only do this." Shaqing nodded, making his decision. "We set out tomorrow. Tonight, Yingmei, say whatever you need to young lord." Wu Xinjie suggestively winked. Lin Yingmei paused, her face hot with fire. Night fell. Young master." Lin Yingmei moaned, her purple-red mouth nipping Shaqing's shoulder, her beautiful eyes tightly shut. Her face showed an expression either of pain or bliss. Each of Shaqing's intense thrusts made the Lin Yingmei of extraordinary heroic airs show an expression that was hundreds of times more charming. "Yingmei, oh, you're so beautiful," Lin Yingmei's arms wrapped around Shaqing's neck, a very weak appearance. Her red lips nipped, her body shuddered, and her snow-white thighs that were supported by Shaqing leaked honey like rain. Lin Yingmei felt a burning inside. Her inner flower opened then closed then opened. She was made utterly limp by Shaqing, utterly soft. Shaqing saw his beloved wife's pitiable appearance, finally letting her off. He tenderly set Lin Yingmei on the bed, and the two of them embraced each other, quietly enjoying insurmountable bliss. Shaqing had a very odd feeling. Whenever he and Yingmei reached their peak, Lin Yingmei's figure seemed to be somewhat unreal, like an illusion, as if she could disappear at any moment. These times made Shaqing hug her tight out of distress. The Yingmei immersed in the splendor of sex was unaware of this change, nevertheless enjoying the embrace of her beloved master after the event. However, every time Shaqing hugged her tighter made Lin Yingmei's body even more unbearably soft. "Yingmei, be careful on the outside. Hubby will miss you." Shaqing lightly bit Lin Yingmei's sparkling earlobe, tenderly ordering her. "Your servant cannot stand guard at young master's side and asks young master to be careful." Lin Yingmei bit her lip, somewhat remorseful. Shaqing smiled. He kissed her red lips, again listening to her soft and silky moans. This night was certain to be very long. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.